what we have lacked in the National Football League for a couple of years now has been a dominant football team, somebody that has not been able to run through the entire league. Now, it looks from a 2,000 or what do you call it, 30,000 foot view that it was the Seattle Seahawks last year, that they were the dominant team. What's up, Sertan Glazer? We're just getting started, my man. Literally 30 minutes into this, you have not missed a single thing. Austin! What's up, Austin? Austin, I don't know if you've been here for a couple of the last lives because we've been going live for about a month straight now, and I think maybe a couple of what's up, PG Network? How we doing? Saw what you had earlier. How's the content going for you, PG? Great to have you here. Rams low key could go undefeated. They absolutely can. There's no doubt about it. I'm back on the lives. I love to see it, PG. It's great to see you posting. I've been in and out of these streams and they've been popping off. Good job. Thank you, Austin. We got to keep it rolling though. Just one thing doing good doesn't mean having success yesterday doesn't mean you're gonna have success the next day. You got to keep stacking days together. As Dave Goggins says, you got to earn your suffering. Drake May Gooner, is this Rams roster better than 2007 Pats? I do believe so too. And if you remember that team, Drake May Gooner, there were question marks about Randy Moss. The Rams have no question marks. They know what Nakua is, know what Devontae is. The Patriots in 2007, we didn't know that Randy was going to be the same Randy, right? He had just been with the Raiders and struggled. My guy, Drake May Gooner, make sure that you're following. No changes today. There are no changes today. So Tang Glazer, we are running it back. Glock, why are the Jags not playoff locks? And losing Devin Lloyd, losing Travis Achan, mainly for me, Glock, or why I don't have in that category. And they should have beat the Bills. They had a better team at that stage when they clashed and they met up. So a bit of a concern on my part from just why did they lose that game, Glock? The fact that they lost that game, they lose two of their better players, two of their best five players on the roster from a year ago. Glock and Glock, make sure you're following Steve-O. Saints ain't going anywhere. They always try. Lions ain't going anywhere from Steve-O. I gotcha. And thank you for the follow, Drake May, Gooner67. Stafford regresses like Peyton. It's possible. What's going on, the real Caleb 9? Good to see you from there, right there and below. What team has the highest ceiling? The highest ceiling of any of those teams is by far to me the Carolina Panthers. But I also do like Minnesota and the Colts as well as New York's not quite the ceiling that I would give the Colts or the Vikings. Now, the reason for that is Carolina's defense, the additions they've made. If Bryce Young continues to ascend, we've seen what Bryce Young can look like in that first matchup in the regular season game against the Rams, playing really good. Yeah, absolutely. Huge shout out to Carolina with what they look like now, adding to the offensive line, adding to their weapons. Dakota W. Bengals higher. This is the best defense we've had in 6 years. Again, I don't even have as many question marks about their defense as more to me it's about their run game and what they're going to look like. It is a good point, though. I have the Browns going 11-6 next year. JW, WK, they still low, though. Yeah, you could say that they are currently, but for Carolina, then the whole NFC South is in their right there category. J Money WK, make sure you're following. James with the Ravens should be playoff locks. For the first time, we actually have concerns about Lamar's longevity and whether he can stay on the field and be healthy. The Bills are Super Bowl or bust. Every year with Josh Allen, they absolutely are. They, without a doubt, when you go to 6 straight divisional round games. What's up, Lachlan? Great to see you. Everybody's back. Lachlan's in here. Austin's in here. Sertan Glazer's in here. Great to see the OGs in here supporting. But James, make sure that you're following. Look, the Ravens, the question mark is going to be on the defensive side. Last year they had a mediocre defense that was coming off a season that they were still pretty good in 2024, but in 2023 they had the best defense in football, James. So that's what we're looking for them to get back to with Jesse Minter. And James, make sure that you're following my man. Thoughts on Jalen Carter, Bo? Jalen Carter is an unbelievable talent. He has the ceiling to be the best defensive tackle in football, and you can make an argument that a third of the games he plays, he is the best defensive tackle already in the league, my man, Bo. So Jalen Carter at some point is going to earn a contract, Bo, which brings up the question, do you pay him if you're the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you pay him that salary that's going to look somewhere in the form of close to $30 million in cap hit a year? You just paid Jordan Davis. There's not really a precedent that's been set where you've paid two elite defensive tackles, which is what the Eagles have. But trading away A.J. Brown will definitely give you an opportunity if you do want to sign Carter to do so. A Bo Morgan, 69. Make sure that you're following. Great to have you in here. Absolutely, without hesitation. Yes, yes. Wait, not Carter. Jalen who? Jalen Coker. Ah, Bo, I love Jalen Coker. He was incredible in the playoffs. He was really good for Carolina. Sorry about the mix up there, Bo. No, Jalen Coker, you could argue, was more impactful in the postseason even last year in those two wild card games. He's a big body threat. He's what, 6'3", physical, and he's been a huge addition to Bryce Young. Saffron, what do we got here? Keep an eye out on him from this year. And Bo, adding Chris Brazzell, who's faster, that can take the top off the defense, that opens up McMillan, that opens up Coker. Very underrated addition there. And then Xavier Legette, it kind of takes the pressure and amplifies it on him. If he doesn't turn into a guy that's a starter, he could find himself maybe off the roster or being traded for a day 3 pick this year. From Crunch Time, y'all, all we're talking hella all these years about the Rams. Too late now. Crunch Time, you've never heard me one single time talk any sense of crap about the Rams. Even as a diehard Rams fan, like Austin being at that Bears-Rams game, throughout the whole process, whenever I saw Rams fans with the jersey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you, Jesus956. I was being friendly. Look, I'm from Los Angeles. I go out to Rams games a lot of the time because I'm a season ticket holder for them. So I got a lot of respect for Stafford and that whole organization. Dylan, thank you for the follow. I'm not one of those individuals, Crunch Time. If you come to be here more often, Crunch Time, you'll understand that my main purpose here is to talk positively about this sport. Even if you're a bad team, if you're the Dolphins or the Cardinals, I'm going to talk about where you could be. If you're a juggernaut like the Rams, you're going to get respect. Watching the throw to Komet for OT and live had to be an experience. To be honest, Austin, it was only about 30 seconds, and then everyone had to shut the F up because of the extra point from Santos. But after that, we went absolutely freaking bonkers. It was unbelievable, and I talked about it, Austin. They played Ice Ice Baby. Everyone was doing Caleb Selly before that play. It was crazy. I thought you were Joey Bosa, Ben. No, sadly, I'm not Joey Bosa earning $100 million, but hey, good for Joey. And that's a Buckeye. OH to my guy, Joey Bosa. Ben, high rising. Make sure that you're following Mansell. This is Denver's year from Mansell. Matt Dad 5683. Make sure you're following Sertan Glazer here on YouTube. You and him would get along very nicely. From Dom, move the Lions down to contenders. Literally every team in the division except for the Vikings are contenders. I agree with you, Dom. And some of that news, Dom. How about Micah Parsons, the update? And I'm not surprised. Look, that injury, especially where it happens in December, the timetable, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come back, and his first game actually isn't November 25th against the Rams, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, because they play Minnesota before their bye week in like week 11. So why not rest him? If Green Bay is something like 6-4, save him until you can after the bye week instead of rushing him back. Dom, Waddle 69. Make sure you're following. Tage Mills, Patriots locks for playoffs, but Broncos, Seahawks, Super Bowl or bust. Yeah, Tage, a lot of that has to do with Denver was New England was in the Super Bowl, right? And they just added A.J. Brown. But for me, the offensive line and where they were a year ago you could say, look, they added Caleb Lomu. I'm still a little bit curious about what that looks like because he played left tackle, right, in his time. with Utah. So do you put him on the right side? So that's the biggest question for me, Tage, because I know what Denver's offensive line is. I know what the Seahawks offensive line is. But O-line, to me, that's where it all starts, right? Tage is a good point, though, Tage. And Tage Mills, make sure you're following. It's great to have you here. How are the Steelers contenders? Do you mean how are they not? Because I don't have them as contenders currently. I have them below, and it's their year. It's their year category. AO, make sure that you're following. Awesome to have you in here. Do you think the Steelers make it back to the playoffs? It's a great question. Ricky likes pizza 420. A lot of 69s and 420s in the chats from these usernames today. Look, Pittsburgh has the highest floor of anyone. Ricky likes pizza. Likely you're going to see two teams from that division. I would say I think it'll be Cincinnati and Baltimore, but if Aaron Rodgers is able to play at the same level as a year ago and have better defensive play. The defense was good last year, but we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers with a healthy TJ Watt, a Derek Harmon that ascends in year two, and Jack Sawyer gets better. You know, we have a level of play that's akin to a contending team. Ricky likes pizza. Make sure that you're following my man. Sea Chickens ain't making it to the bowl. Again, they got extremely lucky against the Rams. Special teams. To your point, user 1293829192619. They had a miss by the Rams. It was a tie game in that fourth quarter, and they wound up missing. What's up, Callan Freddy? Good to see you. But to your point, user 1293, the Rams could have made that field goal in that regular season matchup, gone up by 3. Mevis missed it. They have the muff punt in the NFC title game. So 3 crucial mistakes, and they could have won that first one. They wind up playing that game at SoFi, and things change. But my man, user 1293, make sure you're following. Got to run. Watching Spurs Knicks with friends, but I'll be in future. All right, Austin, great to hear that. Yeah, we've been streaming every day. And the plan was to see how it goes for the first about 3 hours or so. And if we got a good game, that I would kind of hop off stream and check out the fourth quarter of that game. Thank you for the follow, user 129. They beat the Rams twice. They did, Skipper. They sure did beat the Rams twice. They could have beat them 3 times if Jason Myers makes that 61-yard field goal. Harrow's 76. Playoff locks are in no way locks, not a single one. I would argue that Detroit's schedule puts them in that position. The New England Patriots playing the Dolphins, playing the Jets, that puts them at the very least 3-1 to start the year. All they got to go is 7-6, just above 500 in their other 13 games to be in the postseason. But Plaque, Boysby, Harrow 76, Skipper Croft, all you guys, make sure that you are following. It's great to see you here. EP, stop talking. EP, I'm sorry, man. I got to get to hundreds or even thousands of comments over the next. Thank you, Kristen, for the heart me. I appreciate you. I got to get to thousands of comments over the next few hours. The only way to do that is to speak as quickly usually as I can. Peyton, thank you for sharing the live, my guy Peyton. Make sure that you are following. Great to have you in here. Salvador, I changed the Cowboys as a contender. Also, I hate the okay. I like to see that level of respect on the Dallas Cowboys. It's rare to see them get that kind of credit, even though their Cowboys fans are out in droves. Can you put the Packers ahead of the Ravens? Definitely not cry season. Not after the news of Micah Parsons. That very likely can wind up costing them a bye. If they had the type of contending year where they come off and start the season 4-0, 5-0, beating Chicago, it doesn't look like that'll be the case. I do think they'll be 3-1, but then you've got a huge matchup week 5 with the Bears at Lambeau. How much to put the Chiefs to first overall? I'm a Chiefs fan. STU. To put the Chiefs in the literal juggernaut category would be about $20 if you're talking about bribing me. Because putting the Chiefs in that category would be I just it's almost impossible to imagine with Patrick Mahomes. You got me stuttering. Yeah, about 2,000. Is that about 2,000 coins? It would be something like that. STU to put him into that category. That's what it would take to put him into that category, and we would make an adjustment and come on here tomorrow and have the Kansas City Chiefs in the first overall category, and we would have to defend it. It would maybe be fun for you to watch it, as we would have the Chiefs all the way down there at the bottom. I will send a whale diving. It is 2150. All right, STU. Let's see it, and then I will update the graphic if you make that move. And what do we got here? The whale diving. All right, STU. We will make an update for you guys. We just got a donation that will have to move the Kansas City Chiefs for tomorrow's stream to the first overall. We will be putting them all the way down to the bottom. I have not made the graphic. I'm going to have to make a completely new graphic for you, STU, to get that made, but we will put it here tomorrow, so make sure you're here for that stream. Is Jacobs coming back? The belief is that he will be back. We got Dylan Citrasinski. What's up, Dylan? Let's accept it. What do you got going on? I'll get you on here for 30 seconds and hear your take on what you got, Dylan.
Can I go over? All right. So we got Chicago. We got Seahawks. That looks good. I just got one question, though.
Sure.
Do you think Detroit, and I'm not saying this, I'm not being biased. I am a Bears fan. But I like Detroit. I think Detroit, out of all teams in the NFC, I like Detroit. I don't think Detroit is a better team than the Bears.
I don't either. So I'm a Bears fan too, Dylan. I'm a diehard Bears fan too, bro. So I don't think they're a better team than the Bears or the Packers, but their schedule is why I have them ahead of them.
I mean, hear me out though. I think last season too, the Bears are the same topic as Seattle. I think the Bears right now are getting slept on as a team that could be good but could also be bad. I think Seattle was the same way last year. They have Sam Darnold at quarterback.
Interesting.
JSN's coming off an okay season. They might be good next season, but they end up winning the Super Bowl with a really tough schedule. I think if a team is really good, I think a schedule doesn't really matter. I think as long as the team could do what they are supposed to do, they could beat most teams. I looked at our schedule. We're definitely splitting with Detroit. I don't even know if we're gonna beat Detroit. If I'm being honest.
I mean, mainly for me, it's just like I've seen too many Bears years. 2019. We remember that season. It looked like that was a team.
Let's be honest. We knew that year. We all liked Matt Nagy, but we knew it wasn't. We knew that he made a lot of stupid mistakes, more than Ben Johnson's made. Mitch Trubisky too was not as good as Caleb was. Was not. Our defense.
No, he is not. No, Mitch Trubisky is probably as good as Caleb was as a junior in high school.
Exactly. What I'm saying is, having a top offense in the NFL is going to get you farther than having a top defense in the NFL.
Yep, because I'd agree with you. Well, it depends though, because each of the last 3 Super Bowl champs have been top 2 in scoring defense, though. Like the Chiefs when they won it. They were 17th on offense, so it is interesting to kind of compare that. But I believe it's all on Caleb's shoulders, but also the defense has to get pressure. We have to have a motivated Dio. Shamar Turner has to be on the field.
Great Booker too. Watch out for Booker.
Booker needs a breakout season. And then Kyler, man, I'm pissed. I'm not excited about this Kyler Gordon news. I got to tell you, he's got to be on the field, and Ben Johnson's been all about that. So he's got to be on the field, man. He's getting paid top $5 at nickel. He's got to be there. So I'm concerned
about your list, though, for sure.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, good.
I will say this: I think Arizona. I do think Michael LaFleur. I think Michael LaFleur is a steal of a coach candidate.
Yeah, they should. And to his credit, they don't have a team right now that needs to compete at looking at Seattle or the Rams or San Francisco. So he should have a decent leash. This year, they could suck. They could go get a quarterback his rookie year. He may not have to have success until at the very earliest year 3 or year 4, where there's actually pressure cooker expectations.
Yeah, I agree. I also like Tennessee. I think Tennessee has a chance to be a shocker.
That's different. You got to see them win, 7 games this year if you're the front office, because you've got weapons now. You brought in the 2 receivers. couple of guys on defense. Salah's got to correct that side, and then Dable, you're expecting Cam Ward to take a leap, and I honestly think they're like, Salah, within 2 years, we need to be a playoff team. I don't care what it is. Otherwise, we're going to go find another coach. So
I like Salah. I mean, let's be
too.
honest. Who is making the Jets a better team? No one. No one could come into New York and make that team.
No, they need to get really lucky. So they need to get like in order. They got some good news today though. Micah Parsons, they get the higher pick of the Cowboys or Green Bay. So if there's one more, and I always hate the injury talk. Like, I'm as a Bears fan, I'd rather see Micah on the field and you just beat a team. Like, you show up, the best guys out there, let the best team win. That's been my perspective. But like, let's say there is a bad injury to Love, and Green Bay actually is really bad. They could have that pick, and it's the same with the Cowboys. So that's one little domino where they got very lucky with the Daniel Jones injury, so they got a much higher pick. So the Jets, they're going to need a little bit of luck. They haven't had it since Super Bowl III when they beat the Colts with Namath. So it's possible. Right.
Someone said in the comments, how are the Ravens up? I kind of agree with you on that. Like, I think the Ravens are not a contender, or at least a playoff lock. I think they're always having a new head coach. Like, you never know.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not a big fan of Jesse Binter. I'm not a fan of aging Derrick Henry. I'm not a fan of the one good receiver on that team that if he gets hurt, who you guys have as a receiver on that team?
Yeah, they're putting a lot of weight onto those rookies, Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt.
Exactly.
But we'll see with Henry. I mean, at some point he's got to fall off, right? He's human, but like, is he going to be next year? I'm not going to put my money on it though.
You just got to hope the best for the Ravens. Same with the Bills. I think that I'm from Buffalo. I'm a Bears fan, but I'm from Buffalo.
Okay.
I think the Bills' hype is always high, but the same thing.
It should be. It's deserved.
Joe Brady gives me the ick sometimes. I just don't know how I feel about, because a couple months when we were in the season, midway through the season, I know that Bills fans wanted him gone, and all of a sudden now he's the head coach. They wanted him gone as the coordinator.
I just don't know who would have been. Like, I'd rather have with Joe Brady than LaFleur, or I'd rather have him. I'm fine with him, but like, honestly, give him a year, give him 2 years. If you're not in the Super Bowl, go get somebody else, right? High expectations and move on. All right, my man Dylan, let's go. Great to have you in here, my man. Yeah, we're gonna be live for a couple more hours, and I go live every day. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in here more often, and have more conversations, my man.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. All right, Dylan. We're going to move on to the next conversation, or get to more comments. But, Dylan, make sure that you're following Kaiser Pirtle. Bro, the Chiefs have Kenneth Walker the third, and Pat with a stacked defense, not to mention EB is back. Dylan, thank you for the follow, and that was a fun conversation. Guys on YouTube, TikTok, I may be a Bears fan, but I did not plan that. I didn't know that Dylan was going to start talking very positively about Chicago, about the Bears. I did not plan that out. I know if off topic we're in here, he would have said, yeah, we're bringing in a Bears fan to talk about the Bears. That's you're rigging the game, but we didn't. Zach, Nearms, why on earth would the Bills ever be Super Bowl or bust? Look, let's see. Oh, did I just get you back in here, Dylan? I think I was gonna put.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad, my man. I was gonna press on Zach. I wanted to hear Zach's opinion about Buffalo, because he said they're not Super Bowl or bust with a declining team. I'd argue that they're not declining. I know that you lose Edwards. He goes to the Saints, but adding DJ Moore, a number one weapon now in Buffalo. They haven't had that guy, right? Stephon Diggs immediately stepped into a wide receiver one role and had a lot of success. I'm expecting the same thing from DJ, and 1,272 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's the kind of season we can expect it for him to be a top 10 receiver. Kaiser, how are the Bills higher than the Chiefs? I've just got questions about Mahomes coming back from that injury. I've got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Went to 7 straight AFC title games, already been to 5 Super Bowls. I'm not going to be saying I don't believe in the Chiefs, but I do have hesitations about him. Tyrant, somebody paid $20 for the Chiefs to be at the top. They'll be like that tomorrow. I actually don't even. I actually need. I actually need. He's ruled for a week one return. Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. I gotta see what it looks like, Kaiser. I gotta see him take a couple of hits. Somebody hit him low, roughing the passer. Him being able to bounce up. That's mainly it, and it's very interesting, right? Like Patrick Mahomes gets hurt around the same time as Micah Parsons does, but Patrick is going to be on the field very likely week one, whereas Micah Parsons, the trajectory is that he's not on the field until mid to late October, potentially November. Do you think the Broncos will target Bobby Wagner, or Von Miller, potentially a couple of Hall of Famers there? For a veteran presence, bring back Vaughn. I like those names, Robert. Do I think they will specifically go after them? Bobby would make more sense to me. Just have a little bit of more depth there at inside backer. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. What's the username there? I always like to call out the usernames of everybody. Robert, Texans winning the Super Bowl. Robert, I got them going to the Super Bowl next year. With that defense, you can expect Will Anderson Jr. to be in the running once again for DPOY, and I have got him. That's my prediction for him to be the Defensive Player of the Year next year. What do we got? From Mike Litz, see your comment every single time you come in here, Mike. It is the same thing coming in hot right off of the bats. Thank you for the repost. What is this? Hashtag? I don't know, Caden. Thank you so much. Myles Garrett is traded. That's exactly right. Jacob Cahill, man, it's okay. It's okay to have Mike. You don't need to time him out, Jacob. He says the same thing every single day, and it doesn't at all bother me whatsoever. He actually comes in the chat. He's respectful. He just asks. He just asks that every time. It's his routine. But we don't need to mute our guy Mike Litt. It's okay. Philly Don Juan. How are the Lions and Niners playoff locks? I've talked about it often, but Detroit and the schedule that they face, again, no team has scored more points over the last 3 years than the Lions. There's zero reason to believe they won't once again be a top 5 offense in the league next year. With the addition of Blake Miller, the offensive line will be strong. The defensive line, they have Derek Moore there with the violence he brings to edge. San Francisco went to the divisional round game a year ago without 3 of their best 5 players. So Philly Don Juan, that would be why. Make sure that you're following. Great to have you here. Adam Esparza. Thank you for the repost, Adam. Make sure that you're following. Adam, I don't think the Chiefs versus Rams Super Bowl is in the mix. Okay, we could see it. But you don't think, wait, you do or you don't think it's in the mix? I'm sorry if I read that wrong. They missed the playoffs last year. Detroit did miss the playoffs a year ago. And maybe I'm just a Chicago Bears fan looking through an unbiased lens that looks at that team in Detroit that beat them twice last year. And I've got an amount of respect. Philly Don Juan, I've got no reason to be talking positive about the Lions. I can make the argument that nobody hates the state of Michigan football more than myself as an Ohio State fan, as a Bears fan, but I'm going to give them their credit in this case. Philly Don Juan. If you like unbiased takes and content, that's what we try and provide here. So make sure that you're following my man Levi. Pat's got a tough schedule. I don't think it's a playoff lock. So Levi, you make a good point. And the reason I have them there, even with the number 1 schedule, is because of who's in their division, the Jets and the Dolphins. So I talk about this, Levi. Levi, what do you think their record will be next year against the Jets and the Dolphins? Let's start the conversation there. Probably 3-1, right? At the very least. If they go 3-1 in those 4 games, the other 13 games, all they have to go is 7-6, right above 500 for them to be a playoff team with a 10-7 record. What's up, Lucas? Great to see you in here. Chicago Car Sports, Switch Lions and Bears. Chicago Car Spotter. I'm a diehard Bears fan. You don't need to convince me of that. But I'm looking at the Detroit Lions offense next year. You have a quarterback that's led the league in passing yards and touchdowns the last 3 seasons in Goff because of the weapons around him, and he still has the same weapons. And I'd make the argument the offensive line's better than they were a year ago. But Chicago Car Spotter, great to have a Bears fan in the chat. Make sure you're following. Angel, Cards are better than the Raiders, Browns, and Jets. You can make the argument, Angel, that they have more talent, but the schedule has a major weight into this list. Angel, have you looked at that Cardinals schedule? It is one of the most heinous I've ever seen. Got to be honest with you, I'm predicting something like 4-13, 5-12, almost on the higher end with what they're playing. Obviously, the 6 games within their division, they probably go 1-5 in those 6, and then the rest of it, I gotta tell you, it's likely 4-13 from me. At least make sure you're following Angel, a Swan Joe 837. Make sure you're following. Bill's gonna make the playoffs and choke. I can't tell you you're wrong. You can make the argument in 4 of the 6 losses for Josh Allen. Maybe I would say you could say at least 4, right? His first playoff appearance, you could argue choked against the Texans at the end of that game. The only one really was the 2, the missed field goal from the kicker to force the game to overtime at Buffalo like 3 years ago, and then the Patrick Mahomes with 11 seconds getting into field goal range. But besides those, you are correct, Swanson Joe. He has. Make sure you're following Swanson Joe. Raiders 7 wins. I would not be shocked if they could go hit that number. Kareem the Supreme. Steelers always in contenders. The Steelers always have a high floor. That is why they're in that category. We can always rely on the Pittsburgh Steelers to be a team that, even without a lot of success from, let's call it, the key positions, right? Even if they have a quarterback that isn't playing in a top 10 category, the defense isn't up to the standard, or especially like what you're paying those guys to be, Kareem, still, you have to respect the team with the high floor. Last year, they made the playoffs with an injury to their quarterback at times, whereas Burrow got hurt, Lamar got hurt, and neither the Bengals or the Ravens could really find themselves into the playoffs after some of those injuries to their quarterback. So you saw a team in Pittsburgh that is still built with a high floor. Remember me, Reedy624? I absolutely do. Kareem the Supreme. Make sure you're following. Adam says Broncos Niners swap. Niners are getting old, and Broncos have a young team and a third-year quarterback. So you're saying that the Niners should be Super Bowl or bust because they're running out of time, whereas Denver, they have a lot of time with a young quarterback. They've still got 2 years of Bo on a rookie deal, as well as a 5th-year option potentially. Yeah, I'm with you, Adam. It's a good take. Thank you for the follow. Great weights. Who do you think gets Sorsby and how expensive? I'm right now eyeing the Arizona Cardinals for a team that might pick up Brendan Sorsby, and I'm looking at a potential 2nd or a 3rd round supplemental draft pick. Mason, good to see you in here. Will Lions not lock the NFC North? Could be anyone. If Minnesota has incredible quarterback play, Kyler wins that starting role, they're off to the races, and Kyler's playing great football defensively. They're a top 10 unit once again, like they've been consistently under Flores, without a doubt. You could see any team in that division, Will, but just because of the schedule they face, it's hard for me to see the Lions being anything worse than 10-7 next year. But Will, user 9781, make sure you're following. Kyle, where do you think the Commanders will place in the division? I've got them going 9-8 next year. 9-8, is that good enough to win the division? Probably not, but it can have them in the race for a wild card, Kyle. So I've got them being right on the fringe, Kyle. K. Haynes 7, make sure you're following. I like what the Commanders look like, though, of course, with the healthy Jaden Daniels. The Texans mid-AF lull. On offense, you can make that argument, Pooter Scoots, but when you have a defense like that, they give you the ball with shorter fields. They get the football back in the hands of your quarterback, which you could say last year with C.J. Stroud was a bad thing, as his level of play was horrid down the stretch, especially in the postseason. But he did ball out. People forget he had a baller game against the Los Angeles Rams on the second to last game of the year. It's not against the Los Angeles Chargers, the second to last game of the year, where he actually played really well against one of the best defenses in football. Pooter Scoots, great to have you here. Make sure you're following. Louis, Cardinals may test this year. Thank you, Sir Glazer, for getting rid of the spam. But what do we got? Mike Weber, no way. What do you mean by Cardinals may test this year? What does that mean? And thank you for the follow, Alien. I think the Super Bowl is going to be Chiefs versus Rams. So a rematch of that 2018 Monday night game. It's funny, I remember that game as a Chicago Bears fan, very much so rooting for the Chiefs to win, because at that stage the Bears were fighting for position to potentially get a first round bye. Obviously the Rams wound up winning that game. Was this final score 55-51, something like that? Like the third most points in history. It was unbelievable football. On the offensive side, that is, though. Raiders have many holes filled. They absolutely do. MKL, but one that is significant they did not fill is number one wide receiver. It's a major question mark, and hence you see getting closer, but still big question marks. I am a very biased individual towards wide receiver play. I think that it truly is one of the 3-4 most important positions that everybody talks about, especially when you have a young quarterback. Your eyes move around very quickly, and you don't always trust your eyes. And it comes with experience. You need that number one guy that you want to target. MKL MTZ, make sure you're following. Pat H, Dolphins over Chiefs from Pat H. It's great to have you in here, Pat H. Make sure that you're following. Brock Bowers is a tight end. He's a tight end, though. I'm talking about an out wide, an X, right? A primary number one wide receiver. Of course, Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football. I think that a lot of us would agree with that. Can I be a mod? K Jesus, yeah. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not the most technologically advanced or savvy. If I knew how to make you a mod, well, on YouTube you would have to pay a donation. That's what we've been doing because we do have a couple of mods on there. But MKLMTZ, thank you for the follow. Bucks, if you let me up, I will tell you have to. Um, we'll see, KGs. I got to get to a bunch of these other questions, but DM me, KGs. Let's set it up. We can make that. We can make that happen. One player knocks the Seahawks down. From Lewis. One player knocks the Seahawks down. Wait, what are we talking about there, Lewis? One player, Myles Garrett, right? Absolutely, he's the best player in the NFL. Am I right, Lewis? So yeah, I mean, it doesn't just knock them down, but they were not a juggernaut. I wouldn't say it knocked them down. It bumped the Rams up. I'm not trying to take you to English class, but like, Lewis, does that make sense, Lewis? I just want to make sure we're on the same page here, right? Myles Garrett, we know what he is. I honestly think that 25 sacks is realistic because we need to remember. You're about to read my comment and skipped it. The Bucs are contenders. Fairway J. I'm sorry if I didn't get to it. There's a lot of comments coming in here. We will get to you eventually. Just take some time. Lewis, you're exactly right. Football is the ultimate team sport of any that exists on planet Earth. But one player does not mark the Hawks down. Lol. They traded Verse. How does that make sense? They upgraded essentially by bringing in guys, the best defensive player in football. There's an argument that there's nobody in the sport that's better at playing football than Myles Garrett. So that moved them up. The Seahawks didn't get moved down. They stay in the same category, but we invented the new for the Rams because I think a lot of you would agree this is the best roster that a lot of us have ever seen in our lifetime. From what do we got? Lewis, make sure you're following Crambo WX, Lions over Packers and Bears. So Crambo, to give you perspective, they gave up the same position, Matt, but Myles Garrett is better than Jared Verse. Myles Garrett is better than Jared Verse will ever be at any point in his career. And I believe that Jared Verse could be a DPOY at some point. He could turn into an unbelievable talent, but you're looking at a guy in his prime that you just traded for. So that's the difference. From Alden Morale, bro, Commanders have their year. Tommy, Garrett is better than Verse. Garrett has better talent around him, and he gets much more 80 tackles a season. I respect your opinion, but I'm going to disagree. Like, versus better talent around him, so we're saying that's what impact and why his stats are lower. I just want to see the guy finish at the quarterback more often. He's got a guy in his arms. He's not finishing the play as often. Remember here what you're missing, Tommy or Matt. Guys, he doesn't play with leads. His entire career in Cleveland, he's been behind in games, Miles has been. They haven't been passing the football in the fourth quarter, right? They haven't given him the opportunity to go disrupt the passing game. Whereas Jared Verse with the Rams, they are typically ahead. The last 3 seasons, they've been a playoff team each of those 3 years in a contender. Whereas the Browns, I want to say, have only one playoff berth. So that is how it is, Tommy. That is the league right now. That is the entire league right now. It is getting pressure on the quarterback and wide receiver. It's why wide receiver is paid right up there with edge defender currently. Um, it's the same exact thing that everybody agrees with that covers this sport. That you need to get a guy that can get to the quarterback consistently. From Crambo, Lions, Tommy and Matt. I mean, I don't think I would be able to change your guys' mind. So to be honest, I don't feel like any argument that I could come up with, right? It feels like any statistics I could pull out, which could be an enormous quantity, that you guys won't change your mind on the subject. So I'm not saying it's a bad trade from the Browns at all. I actually believe it sets them up for an opportunity to take advantage. Let's say Matthew Stafford goes down, but it's a move where the Rams now elevate themselves in Cleveland. I was saying to trade Myles Garrett. I was talking about that subject for literally years, multiple years, trade Myles Garrett, recoup value. We haven't won with this guy, and so let's move on and let's get a better player. Right? That's what it's been all about. Crambo WX, my guy Tommy Cat 215. Make sure you're following Matt D3D7Y. Make sure you're following, guys. It's great to have you in here. I really appreciate the thought exercise. It's obvious that you guys are very passionate, and it's great to have you guys in here. It's amazing to see such big fans that obviously know a lot about ball. Disrespecting the Cowboys because it's always a trend. Why is it disrespect to the Cowboys, D? They're good enough on paper to go win a title this year. Are you saying, Dustin? Thank you for the roses, Bobby Wooderson. Thank you for the repost. I appreciate you, Bobby. Thank you so much. Dustin, thank you for what are those? Are those cats? Those mice? You're awesome. Thank you, Dustin. D, it's not disrespect to the Cowboys. There's not a bigger Caleb Downs fan out there, so there's zero disrespect. The Cowboys, I have big support for going into this season. They're in that category. We need to see what they look like. Alexander DeGraff, bolt up. I've got them going to the AFC title game. One of my hot takes is that Justin Herbert is going to win MVP with Mike McDaniel coming in and having a healthy Alt and Slater. The Hawks are young and getting better. Are you open to changing your mind? For a roster perspective, you could make an argument Seattle has a better offensive line. You could say that Nick Eamon and Devin Witherspoon are able to turn a better secondary, right? Josh Jobe there, that they have a better secondary, maybe, than I would personally rather have Devin Witherspoon than McDuffie. I'm saying that. So yeah, I'd absolutely be open to changing my mind. It just depends what it looks like. Less sacks, more tackles, more fumbles. It's a player value, not a sack value. I mean, if you Myles Garrett does have the most tackles for loss. I mean, by a significant margin over the last couple of years. From D Wizzle, great to have you in here, D Wizzle. Let me know what you would change. Make sure you're following D Wizzle. From G, Bills and Broncos over the Ravens. Yes, we currently have them there, even though they just added Trey Hendrickson. I got to see what the defense looks like. The moves that they made look like with Surratt and the addition of Jacoby Lane that we've got another weapon for Lamar. I'm excited about it, G. But with a new coach, am I immediately going to put them in the playoff locks category? That I'm going to bet a house that they're going to go with? No, I'm not. I feel a lot better about the Patriots playing the Dolphins and having to play the Jets twice to start the year 3-1 or 4-0, or the Lions in the schedule that they face, or San Francisco getting to the divisional round game with three of their best four players hurt, the Texans having the best defense in the league. My guy G, Corrado60, make sure you're following. From Sam's, make sure you're following. Having the Ravens over the Steelers after what happened last year is insane. But remember, Sam's, from a unbiased, just pure football lens, the Ravens got better than the Steelers did. If we compare the moves that they made this offseason, you could say that without hesitation, Baltimore did more for their team to improve than Pittsburgh did. And Pittsburgh did quite a bit, bringing in Michael Pittman Jr. I like the Honitcher pickup. I love Jeremy Bernard. I think it's one of the sleepers of the draft. But go getting a terrific pass rusher to go get to the quarterback. And then Zion Young, one of the best young run stuffers out of college football from Missouri. So I'm very excited about what that looks like. Sam's, thank you for the follow. CWY Gideon, we got running backs up. CWY Gideon, let me know what you mean by that. And CW Gideon, make sure that you're following. Great to have you in here. Put the Chiefs higher. I feel bad for everybody that's going to see my Chiefs ranking that we're going to come out with, because we got a $20 bribe donation to move the Chiefs, I believe, up into the top category. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Peanut butter jelly. Panthers should be playoff locks. We only got better. Peanut butter jelly, I'm with you. It's just a simple question about Bryce Young and whether or not he takes that leap in year 4. There's still a major concern that he may not be the guy, but peanut butter jelly, I would argue, though, that it would be a win-win season for the Panthers is what's coming down the pipe. If they have a lot of success and Bryce is the guy, we're fired up about it, we're competing, we're a contender. Or let's say Bryce does not play better next year and he's not the guy. Okay, we don't have to go pay him a ton of money, and we can go draft the quarterback in the 2027 NFL draft. So peanut butter jelly, peanut butter no jelly. Make sure you're following Tommy. Green Bay playoff lock, not after the news about Micah Parsons. He's going to be missing at least the first 5 games of the season and probably at least the first 6. It does not look good that doesn't look like he's going to be on track to play against the Packers in week 6 on Sunday Night Football. But it's Tommy Boy. Make sure you're following. I do like the sentiment that you have about Green Bay, but this is one of the top 4 defensive players in the league, and he's not going to be on the field the first third of the year at least. From Jake, send message if you like the Chargers. Jake, I've got Herbert winning MVP next year. Are you kidding me? With Alton Slater back, Akeem Mesidor immediately comes in there to replace. The Lions passed on Mesidor, and the Chargers took advantage. As a Bears fan, I was shivering in the timbers that they were gonna take Mesidor and him go to Detroit, and he winds up in the AFC with Los Angeles. My man Jake, make sure that you're following. Bryce Norwood, I'm so for real. Great to have you here, Bryce. Bryce, make sure you're following. S1986, thank you for the follow. Jake, thanks for the follow. Love Zet. I'd rather my Bengals not be on this graph with those teams. I see what you mean there. I got you. What's up, Michigan Mullet Man Ryan? Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. It's great to have you in here. And look, the Chargers, people have with validity talked negatively about Herbert. Look, he's got to earn it this year, but he's not going to have as much on his plate. I have the opinion that the Chargers can actually look a lot like 2023 Michigan, winning games, running the ball, and playing defense with those tackles healthy, and a defense that looks like it will be just as good going forward. Bro finally read a message from me. Bryce, what do you got? What's your sports take, Bryce? I'm looking at YouTube and TikTok right now. There's so many comments coming in. I'm just trying to get to everybody. So I apologize that when I look in the chat and I scroll, that I don't wind up seeing it. From Matt, this is hilarious. A second-year new head coach wins it all after being predicted Player stats aren't everything. It's true. Everything you just said right there is true, Matt. Hot take: Aaron Donald comes out of retirement to join Myles Garrett. That is the hottest take in football right now. Who you think is getting the first pick? It's the Jets for me. I think it's the Dolphins or the Cardinals. That's why I've got them there. Don't disrespect Herbert from Ted Bundy 17. He's not disrespecting Herbert at all. Jake is, if anything, supporting that guy. He just wants to see him deliver in the big games. Ted 17, make sure you're following. Ethan Davis, why are the Lions locked when they got third in the NFC North last season? Ethan, I've been asked this question maybe 486 times over the last month. They are in that category. Well, not the last month. Since the schedule came out, I've been answering this question. Whenever that was, I saw the schedule and I put them in a playoff lock category. They've led the league in points over the last 3 seasons. I believe it's 1,500 and it's over 1,500. So that's over 500 points a year, Ethan. The schedule they face, we just got news about Micah Parsons. He's not going to be on the field for at least the first 6 games, it looks like, next year. So Green Bay's chances of being a first round bye kind of a team, or even their chances of winning the division just took a significant hit, that they're just not going to have one of the best 10 players in the NFL on the field and back with a trajectory. And then Chicago. I'm a diehard Chicago Bears fan. I look at Detroit that beat them twice last year. I can't help but feel that Detroit, with the schedule that they face, and as talented as they are on offense, that they won't make the playoffs. And at least go 10-7, Ethan. My man, Ethan Davis, make sure you're following. Gary McKillop, make sure you're following. Where do you think Cleveland will be in 3 years? Oh, man. I mean, I got to know what they did with those 2027 first-round picks, because this is the best draft, guys, that we've seen from a totality standpoint, maybe in a lot of our lifetimes. The 2024 draft was special with quarterback. You had 3 great wide receivers. You had Joe Alt. You had Brock Bowers. It was unbelievable. But there wasn't ridiculous depth in that class. If we remember that draft correctly, there wasn't a defensive player taken in the 2024 draft until Latu at like 14 or 15. Like Verse got taken at like 17. Verse can easily triple Garrett tackles and get few less sacks. He clears Garrett in everything. I mean, I hate having to talk negatively about Jared Verse, because I've been talking about Jared Verse since he came his second year in college. I've been talking about Jared Verse as long as any of you guys. And when he got to the NFL, I had nothing but a high expectation. So the fact that people think that I don't love Jared Verse or I'm talking negatively about him is honestly a little bit hilarious to me, because I was making videos about how he's just a different kind of kid that has accountability. Make sure that you're following Tommy Cat 215. Thank you for throwing in the stats to support your take there. Jared Verse has been incredible to start his career. Joey, opinion on the Giants signing all the vets for Dart. Joey, I actually really like the move, because you want to make sure that you have the quarterback with weapons to throw the football team. If Malik Neighbors, with the injury concern right now, him coming back with not reconstructed, but kind of in a way, the 2 knee surgeries, they had to go in and clean it up after they were repairing the ACL. Look, Barrios, Juju, OBJ, one of those guys is going to find themselves playing a lot of time in that offense, Joey. So we're really excited about what the trajectory can be for Dart. I've got a hot take that Isaiah Likely actually he could be the number 1 or the number 2 target for Dart in 2026. It's our year. That's exactly right. 22 OMG1. It is Lachlan. That's a funny one. That is a funny one. Now make sure you're following 22 OMG1 every year. Of course it is. Juanzi, no, while Steelers too high. They do have a high floor though, Juanzi. They don't have the kind of ceiling that Cincinnati, I'd even argue Carolina, the Colts, the Vikings, or the Cowboys do, but they do have a darn high floor where every single year they might not look really good, but they can still obviously get to the playoffs. Make sure that you're following Juanzi Nawile, great to have you here. Noel Ortiz, how many times is it going to be Dallas's year? A couple more, because if you would have listened to the amount of Cowboys fans come after me the last couple of weeks, having them in one of the lower categories, it was enough for me to put them up and see what happens. And then I see a lot more respect for the take, but still a lot of them believe they should be higher. What's up, Off Topic? Great to see you. Noel Ortiz, make sure you're following. Texans Rams Super Bowl from Cam Price. That is my prediction, Cam. I feel like you've heard me say that before. Have you, sir, heard me predict that? That's been my prediction, Cam. I've got the Will Anderson Jr. Defensive Player of the Year pick, and that defense brings them to the Super Bowl. Nico Collins plays exceptionally well on the outside for CJ Stroud, and they get there. My guy Cam Price, make sure you're following. Noel Ortiz, thank you for the follow. The realist with only way Chiefs are winning is if they get the 7-time GOAT out of retirement. It's possible. The Texans year. DWWW. It is, I don't know if I'd put them in the Texans year category because so many people are that low on CJ Stroud. A lot of their fans already have had enough of CJ Stroud. They're thinking about a quarterback in the 2027 NFL draft. So it's not a win-win for Houston because they still need to find out what they have in CJ. But let's say it's a disappointing year. They obviously can still try and potentially go quarterback in 2027. June, make sure that you are following. Steal this June. Joey, you think Allen is a playoff seller? I don't, bro. He's my favorite player and doesn't have a Super Bowl team, Joey. He's a fascinating player because you can make the argument over the last 5 years he's been the best quarterback in football, and yet Mahomes has 2 Super Bowls. He's been to 4, or he's been to what? I think 4, right? They got beat by Philly, and then I guess the loss to Tampa Bay. We'll count that in 2020. Joey, it's tough for me to fully give a take on that. In the postseason, he's what? 0-4 versus Mahomes, and he's 4-1 in the regular season. It's wild the way that's played out. Eugene Hernandez, Cowboys getting it this year. We would be fired up to see the Cowboys have a lot of success. They will have their opportunities to do so with, 6 primetime games coming down once again. CJ struggle. It's true. CJ has struggled massively over the last 2 seasons, pretty much since he little broed Caleb after that Sunday night game. It started to go that way. The realist, it's been on that track. Armando Garcia, 96. Make sure you're following. Jeremiah Smith, first overall from Noah. I do have him in that category, but there is a caveat that the first overall pick goes to the Dolphins that they wind up selecting him, Noah. So that's my prediction that Jeremiah Smith could be the first pick of that draft. He's the best college football player that we've seen since Calvin Johnson. So that's why I believe, why not have the best football player go first overall and not a quarterback? That's a 50-50 shot. Noah Min, make sure that you're following. Alex Ferrara, make sure you're following. The Broncos not making the playoffs, says Alex. Mark my words. So I would assume you don't like Bo Nix. You believe that there's going to be regression from the defense and potentially injuries that pop up, Alex. I guess that would be the take. My man, Alex Ferrara, make sure you're following. T. Dots, make sure you're following. Why are the Jaguars so high? That's interesting. Almost all the questions have been, why are the Jags not playoff locks? Hold on a second. The Jags are high because they had the number 1 rushing defense in the league last year. And except for Devin Lloyd leaving, they have all the pieces to once again be very good stopping the run. If you guys haven't been here before, like if you're T-Dot and you don't know my background, I spent a lot of time in meetings when I wasn't with the offense. I'd catch as many in one-on-ones with the defensive coordinator at my college, and he just talked about stopping the run. We're going to attack. We're going to stop the run. If you can stop the run, you can do anything you want because you can get a team to 3rd and 5 plus. It's all about 3rd and 5 plus because it means that they're not going to run the football twice on 3rd down and short to pick it up. So you're going to keep them in a pass-obvious situation. If they're in a pass-obvious situation, you know what to expect, and you can get very creative as a coordinator. So T. Dot, the Jaguars can get teams into pass obvious situations a lot more easily than other teams. Why? Because they have three stellar players right there up front: Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines Allen, and Eric Armstead. So what did Trevor Lawrence finish? Like top five, number five in MVP voting last year. I don't think he'll be there once again, but when you have that kind of defense, I think the Jaguars will be in a position to compete once again next year. My guy T. Dot, make sure that you are following. Why are the Cowboys not contenders? Wait, are you saying who is Dallas that you don't think that they can win the Super Bowl next year? That it's not their year? Who is Dallas? Is that what you're telling me? Look, I don't have them as straight contenders right now because I don't know how long it's going to take that defense to take the next level, to look really good. What they have at cornerback right now, how long does it take Caleb Downs to look like the all-pro that you believe that you're drafting him? Then offensively, look, this was one of the best rushing offenses in the league last year. A top 10 unit. Are they just as good? I think they will be, but again, I can't just jump in that big tub of acid that has been the Dallas Cowboys. It is our year conversations year in, year out, and just come out and say it. So I'm going to have a little bit of hesitancy. I'm going to put him in that category, and then we're going to wait and see what happens. But my guy, who is Dallas? Make sure you're following. Thank you for the question. Colby Brown, how are the Bills, Super Bowl or bust? They've got Josh Allen at quarterback. I think it's that simple. And you'd be like, why are they above Kansas City? They add DJ Moore. They really are about the same team they were a year ago, I'd argue, with a little bit higher upside on offense on the perimeter. He's been to six straight divisional rounds. They haven't been able to get it done. But as long as you have him at quarterback, it's a pretty simple thing for me. And I had them in playoff locks or contenders category. But at the end of the day, we might bring him back down a little bit. But for now, look, with Josh Allen, we all know what this guy is. But in the regular season, it just makes sense to have him there. And that's what Bills fans say. It's Super Bowl or bust for us. I truly don't know. I think Bills fans just want to get to a Super Bowl at this point and know that Allen can get them to the big game at least. So Salty LSKRT, make sure you're following. Lane Hunt 9, make sure you're following. Who is Dallas? It's awesome to have you in here. I love interacting with Cowboys fans. Who is Dallas? Make sure you're following. He has to play Drake May. He is exactly right. Drake May and A.J. Brown. How about this common theme? The Broncos go get Jalen Waddle. They trade for another dynamic receiver threat. The Bills trade for DJ Moore, a number one receiver threat. And the Patriots trade for A.J. Brown. This movement in the AFC to acquire from teams that we consider contenders to go get big-time weapons on the outside. He has to play May twice a year for the rest of his career, is right. Liam McGarity, Pats won't make the playoffs this year. Liam, I would argue against that. I've said the same argument. Liam, what do you think their record's going to be against the Dolphins and the Jets next year, Liam? That's my question for you. Answer that, and then we can start a conversation. My prediction is 3-1 at the least. Thank you for the follow. Who is Dallas? And why I say that, and I've said that to every person that's been like, yeah, 3-1, Liam, very likely, right? Maybe they lose to somebody. It's any given Sunday, right? If they go 3-1 in those games, Liam, they only have to go 7-6 in the other 13. Like that's not crazy to say. Like even if that tough schedule, they only got to go 7-6. 10-7 gets you in the playoffs about 80% of the time with what the new format is with the 17 games. So that's why to me it's like, okay, they'll probably go 3-1, have a bad loss to somebody. It's tough to win in the NFL, but they only got to really go about 500 the rest of the way, and you're looking at a playoff team. So that's honestly a big part of it. Marvel Mania, you're my new favorite TikToker. Thank you, Marvel Mania. We're also on YouTube as well. So thank you so much for the love. Hey, Marvel Mania, if you don't believe it, though, I would prefer that you say you're my 7th favorite TikToker, you're my 3rd, and let me know what I got to do to be better. But if I truly am, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. CH5CE, what are the Bills better than the Patriots at? I mean, honestly, it's simply just experience at the quarterback position. Do we certainly believe that Drake May can play at that level every single year, year in, year out? CH, are you going to be able to answer me that? I'm thinking about it. They're right there. Category has too many teams in it, you think, Jacob? Okay, we could see it. I just don't know who I would put up in It's Our Year. Maybe Carolina. Maybe move Tennessee down. Let's not put the Giants up there beside Jesus delusional from the realist. CH5CE, great to have you in here. Make sure that you're following. Armando Garcia, Cam Ward activates the run and shoot. Tighten up. The Ravens are not Super Bowl or bust NA simply because of a new regime coming on in there. What'd you say, Tyler Scanlon? Sorry if I missed it, Tyler. Tyler Scanlon, make sure you're following. And Liam McGarity, thank you so much for following. Tyron, you're my favorite TikToker. I appreciate you guys. And hey, look, I love Jesse Minter. Some people don't. They're a little bit down on him coming in to take the helm and organize that ship going forward. I love Jesse Minter. And that's coming from an Ohio State fan. Once he went to the Chargers, I was fine. Like I'm okay with what this guy's gonna be. He's gonna have a lot of success, and then he wound up very quickly doing so. Yeah, Jacob, I am with YouTube as well as TikTok. Am I missing something? Oh, Kloss T9 T6V. I talked to both chats at the same time, so it's. You think the Cowboys should be higher? There we go. Off topic. We got Kloss saying it's their year. But look, for Baltimore, though, my last thought on them is look at that division in its totality. All right, Cleveland probably looks like they'll be one win or two less wins after trading away Miles. But still, that roster's coming together. Cincinnati, we would imagine, won't have the injury to Burrow. If he is healthy, then Cincinnati's dangerous. Pittsburgh did get better. The AFC as a whole is a very deep conference where they have more loaded quarterbacks. So NA, to fully directly answer your question, it would be right now. Look, new regime. Am I immediately going to say they're a playoff lock? They're going to be 10-7. My prediction is I think that they're going to go 12-5, win the division, and be the 2 or 3 seed in the AFC. That's my prediction for Baltimore. With Trey Hendrickson now, Zion Young was one of my favorite picks in the entire freaking draft, getting this monster in the middle of this second round. Unbelievable that they got that NA. So my prediction is, but I don't have the same level. And also I have a question about Lamar. Like Lamar showed injury concerns for the first time ever. But 305_ANA22. Make sure you're following. What do we got? Thank you for the follower, user 35432. Rianide. They might not be inherently terrible, but they play the Rams, Niners, and Seahawks twice. It's true. They have a lot of talent right now, but the schedule that they play, they probably start off the year 1-5. I just asked the question about New England, probably starting the year 3-1, playing the Jets and Dolphins. To the converse of that, you look at Arizona, they start off the year 1-5 because of the division that they play in. I meant Rams from Lachlan. The Raiders are sleeping on the Raiders. Off topic. Panthers fan, Li. What's up, Panthers fan? Good to see you here. Rianide, make sure you're following. Jose says the Patriots playoff lock when they had a cupcake route to the Super Bowl. So it's a tougher schedule, but I just talked about what the division is and how they just need to go 500 in games, not the Dolphins or the Jets, to get to the playoffs. Make sure that you're following Jose. What do we got? Pierce G26. Make sure you're following. No, you are. Make sure you're following. Lions are a playoff lock and they didn't make the playoffs last season. It's because of the schedule that they face. No, you are. I'm a Bears fan. I got zero reason to prop up Detroit as well as being a Buckeye fan. I have zero reason to prop them up. The Cowboys go 11-6 and make the playoffs. What will need to happen, Klaus, is they will have to run the football well again. They will need that run wall starting with Kenny Clark. It starts with the guy that you acquired in the Micah trade. Then it's Quinn Williams with the capital from the Micah trade to be able to go get Quinn Williams. Then it's Malachi Lawrence, Donovan Izarok. You need every single man on that defense to play to a level. You can't have injuries. Injuries can't pop up and take this team lowering their ceiling. They're going to have to be very good. That division is very deep. There's no terrible team anymore. The Giants improving. My Titans will be the breakout team this year. You watch. Okay. Josiah, I've been talking about that a little bit, that they are. Supersize 360, thank you for the follow. Or X Hawk Sig Victoria, thank you for the follow. I think the Bears, as a Falcons fan, what was it? Um, what did we see? I think the Bears will win it all as a Falcons fan from Not Lev 1. Not Lev 1. Giving the Bears that kind of love? Not Lev 1? Are you kidding me? We're giving the Chicago Bears that amount of love. I am absolutely fired up about it. As a diehard Chicago Bears fan, Not Lev 1, how do I thank you for that kind sentiment? Look, Not Lev 1, I don't have in that category right now because of who they play. I still have questions about Caleb ascending and getting. Josiah, thank you for the subscribe. I appreciate the content. Yeah, man, you got it. Hey, look, we're obviously not a perfect show here. There's a lot of things I got to be better at, and obviously maintain the energy throughout several hours and be able to get all the questions and get better at the things that I talk about and not repeat myself. There's a lot we need to improve on, but I'm trying. We're trying to get better here, and over time be a place where we can all come together and have some fun, and hopefully you guys can rely on somewhere to come in here and chat. How do you feel about not having DJ Moore-Class? It's unfortunate. It's just not for $26 million a year. I would not. I'm very happy, to be honest, with the second round pick and what they did in the draft to acquire him. Not Lev 1, make sure you're following. Ryan Knight, make sure you're following. Do you think the Steelers could be a surprise Super Bowl contender? Without a doubt. I have zero doubt that they could wind up doing it if they have an elite level of play from Rodgers. He's protected. They see the run game materialize. Bengals Rams rematch in the Super Bowl. I appreciate you. Off topic. Caleb is a top 8 quarterback in the NFL right now? Question mark. He's fringe. He's fringe currently. I have to see him be more consistent. Like I've been saying this analogy everyone's heard me talk about. Caleb Steph Curry right now without being as good at the free throw line. He's hitting these crazy threes. He's moving around, hitting these insane jumpers, but he's shooting 58% at the free throw line. We got to be able to get that percentage up, and then we're going to take this to the next level. King of everything Chicago Bears. As a diehard Bears fan, thank you so much for being in the chat. Make sure you are subscribed. Everybody on YouTube, if you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed. We're going to be here another 3 hours, guys. We're going to keep an eye on probably the NBA game and see if it's a good game. If so, I'd maybe end the stream in like 2 hours or an hour and a half or so and check out the final quarter. But if it's not, we're just going to keep rolling right through it. AK, we will be better than the Browns and the Jets. What the? Who's your team, AK? Are you a Cardinals fan or Dolphins? Who's your team, AK? Because I can see either of them and what you're feeling there. And AK, great to have you in here. Make sure that you're following. Thank you for the follow, CX Plot Cam. A Dolphins fan, AK. So, AK, what do you think the Dolphins record is going to be? A lot of people know what I'm about to say here. But look, do you see the guy that's next to the Dolphins logo, AK? Do you see the player that I have next to them in that category? It's Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver for Ohio State. To me, it makes more sense that Miami, via the means of what their general manager has taken the direction of to ensure that they don't have. You're a diehard Buckeye fan, AK. I am also a diehard Buckeye fan, OH. So you are in an incredible spot where, as a Dolphins fan and Ohio State fan, realistically, because I got 7 rings. Realistically, you are looking at the realist. Great to see it. You could be bringing Jeremiah Smith into town. And I had to see it for myself personally, watching that season as the original true freshman year went along. I heard the talk from Joel Klatt, from everybody. LT, thank you for the follow. But what's up, Copyright Quan? I had to go see him. And so my first time seeing Jeremiah Smith in person was against Northwestern. And I got to watch him warm up and move around. Need a quarterback to throw it to him. Is it Malik or is it not? We'll find out. So that's why I'm believing that the Dolphins should give Malik 2 years of leash. You paid the guy, might as well see if he has it. So that's why I'm saying if they struggle next year, which they very likely will, I mean, John Eric Sullivan just ensured that you're not going to have a very good team. He gutted the whole roster to build the foundation. You draft Jeremiah Smith first overall, the best player in college football since Calvin Johnson, who could have a more prolific career than Calvin because he could play longer and not have injuries. And then we see what we have in Malik Willis, and then we find out what to do with our organization after year 2, Malik throwing the football to JJ. My guy, AK, great to have you in here, my man. OH, make sure that you're following. Great to have a fellow Buckeye diehard. Very excited about Chris Henry Jr., Brock Boyd, obviously Brandon Ennis. There's a lot of potential there. Riley Pettijohn, the incomer, and Sincere Johnson at some point will be a Blacko. Igbinosun leaves, but Devin Sanchez comes in there to step up. You've got Terry Moore now, obviously, adding into that defense. We're very excited. I think Kenyatta Jackson Jr. has not gotten enough attention. Don't think we will be the first pick. Okay, I can see it, AK. I'm just comparing their roster from a totality perspective to every other team in football right now. And I'm looking at Chris Bell. I'm looking at Caleb Douglas. I'm looking at Malik Willis, who you would have to rank somewhere in the 20s. And the talent doesn't stack up. And you play in that division, right? So you're already starting the year, what, 1-5? Based off the division you play in at the very best, 2-4. Maybe you eke out a win against the Bills, or you're able to obviously beat. The finals are on from Tyron. I know they are, Tyron, but I am on a path to get to 10,000 followers on YouTube and TikTok by the end of the summer. If you have not followed, guys, please make sure to do so. I am trying to get to 5K on TikTok by tomorrow. So if you want to help me with that goal, please make sure that you're following. Like my man AK, it's great to have you here in the chat, even if you disagree with my Dolphins take. It is bad to say the Seahawks are going to be bad this year. Sam D is an above average quarterback. Cade Murphy, I agree with you. Who's saying that the Seahawks are going to be bad next year? Like, bad means you're picking in the top 10. I don't think many people are. Cade Murphy, make sure that you're following. What do we got here? Panthers are going to the Super Bowl. We're fired up about Carolina and their defense. Isn't crazy that the Giants signed OBJ? I really don't think so either. When is the beach football stream coming from a Sertan Glazer? So I have a game tomorrow. It's my first game with this new team, so I'll see what the chemistry kind of looks like there. See if people might be down to take out the cam and record all of that, because I think it really would be a lot of fun. But Baby Yoda, well, who's putting the Bengals that low? Come on, guys. It is me, Baby Yoda. I am the culprit of your unhappiness with the ranking here. Let me know what you think about Cincinnati. Obviously, you're quite high on them, Baby Yoda. Make sure that you are following, though. I love what Cincinnati will be if you could ensure me that Joe Burrow is healthy. Ven's Shark, make sure you're following Ven's Shark. Cannon Lacoste, do you think the Bills have improved a lot? I don't think they've improved a lot. I would say they've improved in an important category, which is a true wide receiver number 1. We got to see if Keon Coleman can step up. If he can be a number 2, 786 yards and 7 touchdowns, like 8 would be unbelievable. Cannon would be fired up about it. But DJ Moore, look, I'm expecting DJ Moore, another guy like AJ Brown, to have very similar stat lines next year. Like DJ Moore, 1,300 yards and 10, 11 touchdowns. That's what we can really expect to see him with Josh Allen next year. Cannon Lacoste, make sure that you are following. I'm not a Cincy fan, but I think they bounce back this year, Baby Yoda. It is realistic to think that happens with a healthy Joe Burrow on the field. Their run game has been bottom 4 in football each of the last 4 years. So they got to get better there, Baby Yoda. But a lot of positive trends for them. Baby Yoda, make sure that you're following. The realist, I think AJ Brown thought Brady was still on the Patriots. Drake May's pretty dang good. I just have a question about whether we're going to see him sustain that success year over year for the long term. There's really no reason why we don't think it would happen. It's not disrespect, Paul, at all. I had the Seahawks number 1 in my rankings until the Rams, literally the Super Bowl favorites from every betting site, just added the best player in the NFL to their roster. Like it's a little bit unfair for next year, but look, they could still wind up screwing it up like they have at times. PMD, thank you for the follow. Lore, second time joining and asking how are the 49ers locked. Lore, it is the same answer that I gave you the other day. We're going to tell it in a different way. The 49ers will be a better team next year simply by the means of talent. They added Mike Evans, a wide receiver threat in the red zone for Brock Purdy. That's important. He is a number one to go to. They likely don't have Kittle to start the year. Michael Williams, we will see. But by October, this team will simply be better with their guys coming back than they were a year ago, Lore. So that's why. Lore Deck, make sure you're following. Baby Yoda, make sure that you're following. Coach Bond, AD about to come out of retirement to play with Myles Garrett. We're so excited about it, Coach Bond. I can't even tell you how fired up I'd be to wind up seeing that. Coach Bond, I don't know if you're a Rams fan, but if you're not, you just want to see what that could potentially look like. Coach Bond, I actually had a Madden franchise team that had Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, and TJ Watt on the front seven, and I wound up losing the divisional round of the playoffs. It was one of the lower moments of my competitive career. Coach Bond, make sure that you're following. Travis Matthew, it is a Travis Matthew hat from Rooster Cogburn. Thank you for the call out. No, I am not making any dollars for that. I do gotta at some point get a brand deal. It is a Travis Matthew hat, but don't ask me what my handicap is. I probably am the worst golfer in this chat. I was a tennis player and a water polo player, and now I'm a beach football player. Rooster Cogburn, make sure you're following. What does it's our year mean? It's our year means, look, the Bengals we have our best roster. Our quarterback says this is the most talent we've had, even more so than the team that went to the Super Bowl. It's our year. We're the Dallas Cowboys. It's our year every single year. That's what it's our year means. That one Cowboy lover. No, but truly, without disrespect to Dallas, this is a team where I could see it. They have a top 5 ceiling in the sport. And top 5 ceiling in the sport means Pickens and Lamb both play like true number one wide receivers, and both guys go over 1,150 yards, and they run the football well. What's up, Ziad? Defensively, Malachi Lawrence has 8 sacks as a rookie. Donovan Izaraku has 11 sacks. Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark combined for 22 tackles for loss. You know, we see an impact immediately from that front seven that makes things easier on Caleb Downs in the back end. So that's what it would look like. That one Cowboy lover. Make sure you're following that one Cowboy lover. Rooster Cogburn, thank you for the follow. Cannon Fitzpatrick, make sure you're following. Lover, you guys ain't going far. You could say that on paper, the Cowboys can go as far as anybody. Again, though, my concern is simply like history. History isn't on the Cowboys' side for the last 30 years. But again, I can still trust Dak more than, I would say, 11, 12 of the other quarterbacks that are in the conference. Bears from Fishboy 310, 3010. I'm a little bit biased towards the Bears, Fishboy, as a Bears fan, but I'm not biased enough to think that they're going to be a playoff lock with the schedule that they play next year. It's outright very difficult. Holy voice crack, Jim, JMY2. You guys are picking up on that. I stream every single day for 5 to 6 hours. So my apologies if my voice cracks 50 or 100 times on this stream. It's going to happen. Simply because of the amount of volume and how often I'm talking. JMY27, make sure you're following Fishboy3010. How about Caleb Williams on the cover? We fired up Fishboy. Make sure you're following. What do we got? Poopy Pants 1233. What's up, my man? What do you got to say about football? Make sure that you're following. What do we got? How are those Rams going to beat the Hawks? Well, the Hawks could have beat them 3 times last year. The Rams could have beat them 3 times last year. If you look at all of those matchups from NK or NCOP, Ravens playoff lock, I certainly believe that they have the potential to do it. Blitz, are you excited to see Aaron Donald play with Myles Garrett? The other teams are terrified. Well, that's how they would beat the Seahawks twice, NCOP. if Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald were on the same football team next season. NCOP, make sure you're following. Awesome to have you in here. And I would say that's how they would beat them. Or ISO too much. Bears are not a contender. So you think that they are worse. You don't have faith in Caleb because he got lucky a lot last year. All those comeback wins from behind were just teams that were playing prevent defense. Is that I would imagine that's what you're saying is they're going to regress in the turnover category. They won't be top 10 this year. And defensively, they lost Brisker, Byard, and Nashawn Wright, so they're going to be worse, right? That's got to be it. From ISO Too Much, make sure that you're following. Riley Snow, thank you for the follow. Bears playoff locks from Jackson. What's up, Jackson? I can't quite put him there. And Jackson, are you a Bears fan? I got to ask all the Bears fans if they are. As a fellow diehard Chicago Bears fan myself, look, dub voice crack from Riley Snow. Thank you, Riley. Thank you for that. Coach Bond, thank you for the follow. Hawks got worse and Rams got better. It's that simple. Coach Bond said it better than I ever could. Said it in 11 words. Carrera 970. Packers are done. No more Josh Jacobs. And did you see the update, Carrera? Even as a Bears fan, I was very disappointed to see the news about Micah Parsons. You hate to see any talented, you hate to see anybody have a significant injury, and it looks like Micah Parsons is going to miss the first third of the season next year and miss the first 6 games, not play against the Bears week 5, not play against the Cowboys, and start the season. And that's just simply because of the organization's protocol that they don't even let a guy even touch the practice field for 9 months after injury to ACL. And he is the highest paid guy right there with Love on their team, so it makes sense. Alex, what about the Browns and my guy Carrera? 970, make sure you're following. What about the Browns? The Browns were a fringe, their team, and then they decided to trade away the best player in the NFL. You could argue the best football player in the world. Not named Mbappe, right? People want to talk about the other football. Kylian Mbappe is pretty unbelievable. Look, Alex, I honestly think this is better for them in the long term. What if they wound up going 8-9, 7-10? They have a fringe draft pick. I think that it's better for them to go 5-12 this year, show some improvements, but still struggle. Go get their franchise quarterback in the 2027 NFL draft. But Alex Cherry King Jr., make sure you're following. I appreciate the question. Carrera, thank you for the follow. Where and when do you think NFL expansion will happen? I believe in the next 3 years, you're going to see expansion around 2029, 2030. The NFL will go to 18 games and adopt 2 buys. They want to extend, they want to increase revenue as much as they can. I believe that it is going to happen very soon. Caleb Williams on the cover, you're cooked. It very well could be. We have seen guys in the past make it happen, though. I'm a Bears fan. Felt bad when Kraft got injured. He's good. You're right. Poop pants. 123 399. You're correct, and I love that perspective from you. That you were sad to see Kraft get hurt. I was just as much as you, or not as much as Packer fans, obviously, that are diehard on him. But you hate to see it. He looked like one of the best tight ends in the league. But my man, make sure that you're following. 123 399. Alex, thank you for the follow. McNasty with the Go Pack in the chat. McNasty, I'm sorry to hear about the Micah Parsons news. It's just unfortunate that injury happened. Sertan Glazer, we're going to go, I would say, about another hour. At the 2.5 hour mark, we're going to start getting some more calls in here. I just want to make sure I get to a ton of comments. And once I start slowing down a little bit, my voice cracks every couple of minutes, then we'll get more to give my voice a little bit more of a break. But McNasty, sorry to hear about that. Lil Wayne in yellow. Thank you for the follow. Hammer. Fruit Pants 123397. Thank you. What's up, Nico Collins? But McNasty, make sure that you're following. Look, I'm a Bears fan, but I do give unbiased takes here. If Micah were healthy to start the season, realistically, I would have Green Bay over Chicago. They beat them the one time that Micah was on the field. They lost to them in the 2 games with double-digit leads in the fourth quarter when they didn't have simply the Mario Mariano Rivera closer. I think that they could have won both those games without a doubt if they had a healthy Micah Parsons on the field. And that's coming from a diehard Bears fan trying to say this and call it what like it is. Broncos ranked too high from Z71 Misfits. What do you not like about Denver, Z71? Let me know what you're believing for them to see some regression next year. But McNasty, make sure that you're following. Wait, no, wait, you think the Dolphins are winning it all? We have them getting Jeremiah Smith. Bucks going all the way. Rams are still from some random guy. Please, let's stay away from hateful speak towards other individuals. I don't have an issue with it because I'm a straight I'm a straight individual, but there could be people in the chat that are offended by that. So thank you, some random guy for being in here. Some people will find it. I'm just saying that some random guy. I don't find it hateful at all, but some people may not like the comment. If we could just keep it towards football, I appreciate you being in here a lot, but let's just try and keep it. It absolutely is, but I just don't want that one person to feel like this isn't a safe place for them to come and talk about the sport. You know what I mean? So there might be some person that might not like it. So if you would in the future, just make sure to keep it something that people of any type of background would want to come in here and do. But I appreciate you, my man. I'm not trying to call you out or nothing, but I do make that request. From O Cheat. Every tier is C. I always say this: Packers are not contenders. From O Cheat. Are you a Bears fan, O Cheat, or Chicago? Z71 Misfit. Make sure that you're following Adam. I'd love to see us getting an NFL team as us. Memphis, huh? Please, no spamming. Nonchalant Neil 123. Don't spam. It's fine to put any comments pretty much in here. Please don't spam. I see you. The Panthers should be contenders because of their defensive upgrades. I see you, Nonchalant. I got you. Please don't spam. As soon as I look in the chat, I'm trying to get to the next question. Sometimes I miss people. Guys, thank you for not muting him. But please, again, make sure not to spam. G Butter Snaps, I gotcha, because they've been very good on defense. They add in Kyler. You'd argue that they've got more talent now, but gee, I just need to see what quarterback looks like. I've seen too often a really good defense get wasted by poor quarterback play. And again, Kyler hasn't won a playoff game to this point, G. So we still have a major question mark about them in a very tough division. G Buttersnaps, make sure you're following the GOAT RB. Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. I mean, Caleb Johnson, this guy may be the most important player on that offense, not named Aaron Rodgers, potentially next year, especially down in the red zone, making plays happen. The GOAT RB, make sure you're following Lil Motag. Panthers are going to make some noise. We've had them right in that fringe contender category throughout this whole process. I agree with you. They should have beaten the Rams both times last year. Bob, thank you for the follow. GOAT RB, thank you for the follow. What's up, Timeless? Great to see you back. Could you pass for 50 yards in a game for $1 million? Am I allowed to just throw screens the whole game? Am I getting knocked out on the third play of the game because I'm playing at MetLife Stadium or I'm playing at Levi Stadium? It depends on where I'm playing. MG2CI, Broncos smack Chiefs in Monday night opener. I know, it was per Sertan. Glazer on YouTube will love that one. MG2CI, what that would look like is the Chiefs' offensive line still has major question marks, and they're not healthy possibly like last year. Their offensive line was once again one of the biggest pieces of kryptonite for them. MG2CI, great to have you here. Make sure that you're following Tyler Boast. Make sure you're following Anaya. When you get home tonight, look up Malik Neighbors. That is great advice. Go look up Malik Neighbors. He is a fun man to watch. Buddy, if you have everyone in the NFC East below the Eagles, then would we not be locks? The simple reason of it is that, as you can tell, them not having any teams that are far to the right in that category, that it's a deep division. There's no really bad team in the NFC East, and I believe that it's going to be a 10-7 record that wins the division there. Uh, for Tom FRM .8. So I know exactly what you're saying there, but again, Washington, New York, like we could see Philadelphia potentially lose 3 games in the division next year. They have a lowered amount of accumulation of all that talent there currently. But still, again, I still believe they win the division. Tom, FRM.8, make sure you're following. Blake, make sure you're following. Panthers are going to cook this year. Just a little bit unfortunate that they don't have Micah for the start of the season, Blake. But my man Blake, make sure you're following. Zach Anaya, make sure you're following. What do we got? Tyler Boast. Giants going to second round playoffs. They could get there. It's not in, they could. They put it together. Jart has that connection. Neighbors is healthy. They get pressure on the quarterback. Burns, Thibodeau. What do they got now? Arvell Reese. You see Colton Hood immediately play well. Who's winning the AFC South? I've got the Texans. Very confident in Houston in their defense, and that Stroud will actually play better next year. It's Jacob Cahill is going right at off topic. I love it. We've got a new OC that never called plays before from Chandler. That's how the F are my Hawks, Super Bowl or bust. We just won one. Chandler, it's because of the long-term outlook, to be honest with you. In less than 2 sentences, you're going to have to pay Witherspoon. You're having to pay Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're paying all these guys now. You're not going to be able to afford them all in the long term. So your best chance to win one is actually right now. That's exactly right, Jacob. Actually, it's more so that's exactly right, Jacob. So there is no treadmill today. So we're taking it with a break on that right now. We will be back though. It depends on the turf toe injury that I've been dealing with. I was walking for several hours on that thing, dealing with an actual turf toe injury. It's no joke, guys. I've had that been done for 3 months. Rams are not that much different than last year. Garrett was a huge pickup, but not that much. But Corbin, it's also Trent McDuffie, though. It's the combination because Trent McDuffie makes your pass rush that much better because he's able to hang with your other team's number 1 target for another 1/10 of a second better than 90 other starting corners in the league, Corbin. And then it's Myles Garrett, which makes you 5% better getting to the quarterback than anyone else in the league. So that combination, Corbin, now elevates you to that level. It's a good point, though, Corbin. Make sure you're following Corbin. The Go RB. Steelers are beating the Browns, the Ravens, the Bengals, expecting 4-2. Texans down to there, right there from Mitzi, huh? Very low on the Houston Texans. It looks like you have some doubts about what they are going to be next year. I would imagine it starts with CJ and ends with Stroud. A Mincy 93. Is that a Connor McDavid profile photo? Is it, Mincy? Is that a Connor McDavid photo? It's okay, Moss. You think Mahomes will be as effective as past years this season? Stewart, I believe he will be. But I don't believe that team, again, with all these guys like Jones and Mahomes being paid that amount of money, they're not able to retain that level of talent. So I don't think he's going to be to that level. I mean, the guy leads the league in passing yards and touchdowns over the last 5 years. So is he going to be that next year? No, I don't think he'll be top 5 in those categories. Kermit regressing every year. Who do you think the Steelers' record is going to be? I've been looking at 9-8, 10-7 for Pittsburgh. They just have such a high floor year in, year out. The Panthers are not contenders because I have such a major question still about Bryce Young. They'll be contenders back at some point. I've been moving them back and forth. I just don't know exactly what to do with them. I am confident, though. Remember, that secondary with Horn, with Mike Jackson, Lathan Ransom over there in the back end. Like, I love what they have defensively next year. They got even better by adding Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd. I really like Carolina. The only question I have about them is quarterback and Bryce Young. But one King Glassena, what we do know is it actually is a win-win year for the Panthers. If Bryce is the guy, unbelievable. Let's go sign him. We go on a playoff run. If he's not the guy, we go 7-10. Okay, 2027 NFL draft. We go get our quarterback, and we don't have to sign Bryce, and we find our answer sooner. make sure that you're following. One King. Alex with the Bolts. Jets should be higher than Saints and Titans and Giants. So a lot of talent there, and you seem to have a lot of playoffs in Geno Smith. Alex, make sure you're following. Michael, make sure you're following. Eagles are going back to the playoffs. Come out. I think they are. I've got them going 10-7 next year. Just a bit down on what their roster is. They haven't been able to hoard talent the way they have in the past because you got to pay Jordan Davis. It's obviously Hurts is making money, but I've got a hot take that 2 years from now, Jalen Hurts will not be on the Eagles anymore, and they will have the ability to get back to where they were with one of the best rosters in football by not paying a quarterback an obscene amount of money. Michael, make sure that you are following. Alex, thank you for the follow. Why I forgot about Trent McDuffie, Corbin. It's all good. It happens. Look, McDuffie as well as Garrett. That's a big part of why that category. McDuffie and Jalen Watson. So they got better in literally 3 areas, 3 specific positions. One of the best corners in the game, the best player in the league, and we're fired up. Josh, will you wear a Cowboy jersey on live stream if I donate $1,000? I'd wear a Cowboys jersey on a live stream for just $100 donation. It doesn't have to be 1,000. I do it for 100. You don't need to donate 1,000 for me to do a Cowboy jersey. I do it for 100. Camden Sawyer, Bo Nix isn't good enough. Which defensive tackle is better than Will Anderson? Which defensive tackle? Do you mean defensive end? There's only one player in the league I would take over Will Anderson Jr., and that's at edge. There's only one guy, and that's Myles Garrett. And if you ask me who would I rather have today on my team, I would take Will Anderson Jr. because he's 6 years younger. And that's the only why. Yeah, that's right. He'll wear it. I will. I would. It's just $100. Off topic. Whoever, Dallas Cowboy fan, put it in there. And I will go into I'll have a Cowboys jersey on within 10 minutes. I have the means to go make it happen based off of where I live and who I know that actually possesses a Cowboys jersey. It is I believe it's a Roger Staubach jersey. 50 UR2? What is 50 UR? What does that mean, Nico Collins? Rams are not that much different. Are you saying Nico Collins 50? 50 to do it? Is that what you're saying? Corbin, make sure that you are following my man. Awesome to have you in here. From Ellis White, this is a real live, believe it or not. I'm a real human being. And whatever you put in, I can respond to in real time. It is incredible. Ellis White, make sure that you are following. What do we got? Bryce has shown he has the ability to win. Who is the worst starting edge in the NFL? The worst? So that would be somebody that's getting paid. That's getting paid a lot. I have no idea. The worst starting edge in football. I don't know. I don't know. Buddy is upset. Who is upset? 50 Peaks. And what type of season do you think A.J. Brown is going to have? I think he's going to have a 1,300-yard, 12-touchdown kind of season. Be one of the best players in the league next year. That's what I've got. Felix Ndike Unzama. That is a good call out. That is an interesting name to throw in the chat. The worst in football? Kyler God, 6. He's going to show out this year. Seahawks champs till they get beats. Okay, we could see it. And that's exactly PG Network. Thank you for the heart me. Great to have you in here. We got to put the Bears in playoff locks. We can't quite yet do it, Marcel. I just can't quite get there. I've been thinking about it, and I've been really pushed to. But I just can't, as a Bears fan, I just can't. I think it would seem a little bit too much bias. Bills Mafia, says PG Network, and thank you for the lightning bolts. Awesome thank you so much for the support. Bills next season, they added Parker, they added Kilgore. Sanders and right there in the middle. What they got? Is Dayon Walker there now? Come on, bro. No faith. I got faith in the Bears, Southside guys. I have faith in the Bears. It's just I'm not willing to go put $1,000 right now. Which is essentially what you would be willing to put on for a team to make playoff locks. You'll watch your team make the playoffs just to lose year after year. Rather not make the play. 50 peaks with Ryan. Who are you talking about? Who are we talking about right now? The text, like who's that squad? From Bentley Hartsfield, you kind of look like Josh Allen. We only get that comment 10 times a stream. Vikings still better than the Rams. Wolfie, I appreciate your optimism about that squad. My girlfriend who lives in Minnesota would be fired up to hear you say that. Wolfie, Lightning Aviation, make sure that you guys are following. She might be in the chat even right now. Two tough edits with the Chiefs. So is this a question about Kansas City? I have a lot of positive things to say about Kansas City. Yes, the Chiefs may just have to be at the worst team in the league category because someone donated money to the chat to put them there. Doesn't mean I feel that way. It just means I was bribed and my hand is being forced to do it. But I do believe that Kansas City next season can without a doubt compete for a title. Heck, they went to 7 straight conference title games. Two tough edits that can go make it happen. Two tough edits. Make sure that you're following. Tank right. Bills Rams Super Bowl. I would love to see it. What did Matthew? Bengals in It's Our Year. Duval from Joshua Morrison. Ruben Bain Jr. opinion. I believe Ruben Bain Jr. is the 1 in 10,000 kind of guy where the arm length won't matter and he can still turn into a double-digit sack kind of player, 15 tackles for loss kind of a guy that has a really long career. Look, he's powerful. His motor does not stop ever, and they have the type of talent in Tampa Bay to go win that division. There's no doubt about it. They got better on defense. Offensively is more of the concern for me. You've had a player in Mike Evans that you can just have as your one read, stare down, throw the football to. He's just going to make a play. But Ruben Bain Jr., to fully solidify my answer to you, I believe he's a guy that could wind up having 75 sacks in his NFL career. The Scott Peel, make sure that you're following. Casey, I could see it. Jesse Denny, 30, make sure that you're following. Thank you for the question. Bearded Teacher, make sure that you're following. The worst take, let me know what you think and what you would change about this list, Bearded Teacher. I got no issues with critiques and criticism. Kyler C, thank you for the follow. What do we got? Don't sleep on the Falcons with a little bit of trust. I think Tua can thrive with all that talent. It's WGHS775. Thank you for the follow. Yes, I fully agree with you. It's just a matter of that quarterback level of play. That's all it is. Does Tua have it in him to be like the guy he was 3 seasons ago? I believe that the talent's obviously still there. It's just a matter of him being able to put it together. And look, with Kevin Stefanski, you've got a bright mind and arguably the best back in football. A PCDC, thank you for the follow. London Pitts, Bijan Robinson, they add Zachariah Branch. They've got the tools there to go make it happen. That division is the worst in football. I have no idea right now. It's very tough to make of what the NFC South will look like. Kenny, I appreciate that, Kenny. Kenny, though, tell me what you don't like about this list and what you would change. Piss Zimmy Oz 6934. Thank you for the follow. And Kenny, make sure that you're following, but please let me know what you would change about this list, Kenny. I got to have a little bit of criticism. You could say I know ball, but I kind of would prefer you tell me what I know ball about and what you like instead of just the first statement. Let me know what you would change. What's up, Lucas? Good to see you in here. Keeping up college football, guys. If you like college football, he's got you covered. Go check out Lucas. Dylan, thank you for the follow, Dylan. Awesome to have you on in here. What do we got? What did Mike say? Did Mike say, Mike, the Cowboys are still too high on this list? From Mike. I think the Bears are playoff locks. Bro got the Bills at Super Bowl or bust. I do. Eli is a guy 999, and it is because when you have Josh Allen taking you to the playoffs every single year, being 2 games away from the Super Bowl, it's hard to not have them in that category. It's just unfortunate that they've lost 2 AFC title games in 4. Well, they've lost 4 divisional round matchups. Saints should be in It's Our Year. I've heard a lot about that talk, WWW Dish mixes. I've heard a lot of that chatter, and it's fully validated within a weak division where there's no true elite team unless Bryce Young turns into an incredible player, which he could be. He won the freaking Heisman. But it's a matter of New Orleans having Tyler Shuck not turn the football over, that defense not regress the way I think that it could. What's the score? Sertan Glazer, what's the score? I haven't checked it. Dolphins are sleepers this year. They're their definition of a sleeper. If I have them in that bottom category, Jostin Himmler, make sure that you're following. Bears are going all the way. Bear down. Would fall out of the first round if they didn't play for Ohio State. That's absolutely true. 54-48. Okay, it's simply close. Man, bust out the Cutler jersey for a stream. South Side. I would bust out a Jay Cutler jersey. I actually have one within reach. I would bust out a Cutler jersey for what would that be? For 25, I would do it. For 25 bribery stuff, I would bust out a Jay Cutler jersey because I do have one. I do still have one. Was Willis a good move for the Finns this year? I do, Jostin Jimler. And the thing for me is that I want them to get Jeremiah Smith. I want them to draft first overall, and I want them to give Malik Willis 2 years, 2 full years to see what he has, and they could still be very bad this year. And John Eric Sullivan has honestly positioned his roster to be in that position. A lot of people are eyeing number 4 at Ohio State. So, Jostin, I really believe that that's what we got. Southside, all right, guys. Thank you so much for the super chat, Southside. I'm going to go grab it. It is in this room I'm in right now. We got it. So we need to do it. Hold on a second, folks. We got the chat. We got the request. And so we need to put it on. I just need to find it, guys. Give me some time here. Hold on, everybody. I'm grabbing the jersey. We're grabbing it right as we speak. Guys, sorry about the delay, but we had a request and we had it come through. So we see that. Does everybody see what that is right there? Our guy. This is a Jay Cutler jersey. There it is. And we have to put that on. Josh will shave his head on stream. We got the request to do it. And for $20, you got it. Bear down. This is a Jay Cutler jersey. It is hot as hell right now. Oh, you can't even see it. It's right there. Jay Cutler. Hold on. Let me show you a couple other things. Hold on a second. Just so you know that we're not messing around here. This is Brian Urlacher, 54. Smaller. A little bit of a situation there. That's a Brian Urlacher, older one. We have the Chicago Bears hoodie. We have, now you let's go Lions. we have the Chicago Bears hoodie. So I've had this thing since I was probably like 17 years old to go along with the Cutler jersey. I should turn this just into a TikTok shopping live and just sell all this stuff. We got Devin Hester right here. We got a Devin Hester on here. So we got Devin Hester. I showed you Urlacher. Right now we're wearing Jay Cutler. If you guys know who this guy is, number 34. Anyone know who number 34 for the Chicago Bears was? Anyone know who that was? Walter Payton. Yeah, got a Walter Payton jersey. There we go. Hester, bro, a real fan. We had questions about the Cubs. Anyone remember Soriano? Anyone remember this guy? Alfonso Soriano for the Chicago Cubs. Any of you guys remember Soriano? Well, we've got a Soriano jersey. Julius Peppers. We remember when Julius Peppers was a Chicago Bear? We've got that. This is a small jersey that I wore when the Bears got beat by the Green Bay Packers on that 4th and 8. Julius Peppers jersey. Has anyone in the chat heard of Jonathan Taves? Jonathan Taves, back one of the GOATs, all-time Chicago Bear GOATs. Chicago Blackhawks GOATs, won 3 Stanley Cups for the Chicago Bears. There's our guy, Jonathan Taves. Jonathan Taves jersey. That's about, I've got a lot more than that. I mean, for goodness sakes, right now I'm standing on a U of I blanket and a Chicago Cubs. Julius Peppers was one of the all-timers. He absolutely was one of the all-timers. Taves, Kane, Keith, Hossa, Seabrook, Nicholas Yalmerson, obviously Crawford. How about Scott Darling in Game 1 against the Nashville Predators in 2015? Remember Scott Darling coming in and making it happen? I actually do not have a Justin Fields jersey, Ty Lee, which is funny because I'm a diehard Ohio State Buckeye fan, and I did not buy a Justin Fields jersey because I was a Buckeye fan. I did not think he was going to turn into a good player for the Bears. It was one of my takes that I was very unhappy that it happened, but that's how it went. That's how it went down. I don't have a Fields jersey. I have a Caleb jersey, though. I have a pile over there. I do have a Caleb Williams jersey, though. Pizzin. Great to have you in here. But that's a bit of the haul that we've got. We got Caleb, and we're going to be wearing this Jay Cutler jersey for the rest of the stream because our guy Southside came in. And again, my man, thank you so much for the donation of $19.99. We're going to like that. It is so great to see the support. Sorry for the hard username. It's all good. Brandon Side, Chicago legend, was an animal in Pittsburgh travel hockey. Didn't the Hawks and Tony Rossetti, make sure that you're following. Great to have you here. Brandon Sod, didn't the Blackhawks make a trade that they were able to bring Sod back? Was that the Artemi Panarin trade? They traded Panarin away. It was a young pick, and they wound up getting Brandon Sod in return. That ended up being very dumb that they traded away Panarin, because Panarin and Kane were this incredible, very, very good young duo. If I remember correctly, that was the trade, and Brandon Sod was a huge part of that 2013 Blackhawks team. Why are the Packers? How the F are all the NFC South teams right there? All of the NFC South teams are in the right there category, because who knows what to make of that division? Does anyone know what to make of that division? It is almost impossible. With the Saints look much better. Tyson and Delp coming on in. They've got Banks at left tackle. They look like they're going to be improved. Carolina brings Lloyd and Phillips into the building. They still got questions about Bryce. Atlanta's as talented as anybody on offense with their weapons. Defensively, they've got players. The Chosen, I don't know what to make about this division. You tell me who's going to win that division. I think it's going to be the Panthers, but I could without a doubt be wrong. The Chosen. He's chosen. I'm chosen. Can the Chosen one smoke? The Chosen, make sure you're following. If you get the reference, that was Tommy Shelby and Peaky Blinders. Panthers could take it from Southside. They absolutely could. Doug Beachy, thank you for having the Lions as the best team in the NFC North, Doug. I just respect what that team is going to be next year, the schedule that they face. And Doug Beachy, make sure you're following. Great to have you in here. Without a doubt, we have to respect Detroit. Even as a Bears fan that is wearing a Jay Cutler jersey, I still have to be unbiased and say that they're going to be really good next year. I feel as a Colts fan, and thank you for the follow, Doug. Thank you for the follow, Xavier. Lions are a lock because of their schedule, Pumpkin Eater. That's a big part of it, right? It's who you play, but also their talent, Pumpkin Eater. They have the most points in the league over the last 3 seasons. Nobody scored more points than the Detroit Lions. Why? Because their quarterback, Jared Goff, has the most passing yards and touchdowns over the last 3 seasons, Pumpkin Eater. Nobody has more total touchdowns from scrimmage than Jahmyr Gibbs with 49 on the dot over the last 3 seasons. Amon-Ra St. Brown, nobody has more receptions than him with 557, or is it 547? It's 547 over the last 5 years, Pumpkin Eater. And that's not to mention a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, Aiden Hutchinson. Look, as a diehard Bears fan wearing a Cutler jersey, I got to say with an unbiased perspective that I do like what Detroit will be next year. Pumpkin Eater, though, make sure that you are following my man. Great to have you in here. Nate G18. What did you say? Steelers. T-Dots, I could see a Super Bowl with A.J. Brown. There's no doubt. It's just this conference is so freaking loaded with quarterback talent. Herbert now being protected with Alton Slater, Mike McDaniel there. Obviously, Lamar and the Ravens, Burrow and the Bengals, Mahomes, if he's healthy next year. There's so much there that we have an expectation of them being very good. T-Dots 15, make sure that you're following. Thanks so much for being in here. Nate G 1865, make sure that you're following. What do we have? Cam, why are the Cardinals so high? The Cardinals are so high because they have the potential to get Arch Manning or Dante Moore. Cam, great to have you in here, Cam. Make sure that you're following. I love the enthusiasm, the sarcasm. I love all the enthusiasm there. We got it. I almost said something really goofy there. I almost said something really goofy. I caught myself though. If off topics in the chat, he definitely caught that. Law the Lions from T-Bone. Look, man, you even see me wearing this jersey that I'm wearing. What's up, Daniel Hartman? How we doing? You can tell that we're fired up on this beautiful Wednesday evening where we are wearing this Jay Cutler jersey. Our guy blessed us with a 1999 donation. Our guy, Southside, diehard Bears fan. We showed off. I've got a Mark Pryor jersey. I got a Soriano jersey. Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Devin Hester, Walter Payton. I've got a couple of autographed Gary Fensick stuff. It goes on and on. You should watch the Spurs game from Luke Walker. Is it a good game? I was planning on maybe catching like the last 5 minutes potentially and but I have not seen much of it, Luke. I was thinking about, because of all that merch that I have, potentially making like a spoof of John Gruden doing like, we just got a package from the Chicago Bears. How about a guy like Gary Fensick back in the, doing a little bit of the John Gruden, having like a box of all my Bear stuff, signed helmets and memorabilia and all that footballs and stuff. And just acting like John Gruden just got it. How about anybody remember the late great Steve McMichael in the middle of that defense? And just doing the whole John Gruden thing. Tony Rossetti saw Adrian LaRoe walk off where Soriano lost the ball in the sun on fly ball. It was the Fuco Dome days. The Chicago Cubs had more unlucky things happen to them than probably any sports team in history. And the Chicago Bears have been a pretty close number 2 to that. From Deshae Mixes, who do you think's going to win the South? I think the Carolina Panthers, www.Deshae Mixes, that they will win it. And my man, make sure that you are following. Look, Carolina, with what they got cooking on defense, offensively, they are a deep unit now. Tight end, still a question mark there, but they improved the offensive line. I'm excited about Carolina. Nixon talking like he isn't trash. Lenny, make sure you're following. He says the Spurs will win. Okay. Thank you for the follow, Deshae Mixes. What about them Cowboys? Is that what it goes? No, it's how about them Cowboys from Jimmy Johnson. I changed my username. Oh, gotcha. Liam Casanova. It could be the Cowboys' year this year, Liam. I don't know if you've heard about it. People actually care about basketball. No, Sertan Glazer's just given me an update. I wanted to know what the score was, in case maybe it's worth watching like the last couple of names. Sosa, Alou, Aramis, Ramirez. We've definitely had our stars over the years, without a doubt. Um, Unfortunately, the Cardinals were really good for a long time, so they just really couldn't get past them in the Central and be able to make hay. But honestly, as good as the Cardinals were, they won a championship in 2011, got beat by the Red Sox in 2013, won in 06. They didn't win that many. How delayed is this stream? I actually don't really know, Mr. Green. I couldn't tell you how delayed it is. Hopefully, I'm responding to you right away. Caleb Downs from Eric Rodriguez. We're just calling out a future All-Pro. The NBA died in the mid-2000s. Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Stoudemire and Nash in the Suns, and you had Parker Ginobili and Duncan in the Spurs going up against Artest and Kobe and Pau Gasol and Derek Fisher and Sasha Vujacic, and you had Stojakovic and Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavs. You had that West that was just so much fun every year. But ultimately, it'd be the Spurs or the Lakers that won it. Liam Casanova, how about the Chicago Bears? I've got them in contenders right now. Obviously, you can see the Jay Cutler jersey that we're wearing right now. Look, I think they're going to be really good next year. I think they'll be a better team than next year. Stockton and Malone. There you go for a Jazz perspective. Yeah, that was a little bit earlier, right? That was 90s because Stockton and Malone were both on the Dream Team in 92. For the Bulls after they fired TPS. Look, Chicago's going to have a better defensive line next year. That simply put, Austin Booker, we can expect him to be a better player. Missed the first part of the year being hurt. Shamar Turner missed pretty much the whole season. Dio Dengbo, same story there. Jarrett wasn't healthy. Linebacker, that position looks to be about the same. Tremaine Edmonds was decent there. It wasn't unbelievable. But defensive back, they made a big upgrade of Byard and Brisker. I know Byard was very good, but Thieneman and Bryant, this could be one of the better duos in the National Football League soon here. The Rams should be higher, Adam. Well, I don't know what's above Juggernaut, like unbeatable 20. Adam, make sure you're following. NT Weed 44. It's our year category means it goes the way the fans are saying it's gonna go, and we're looking at a team that should win the title. On paper, they stay healthy and they're going to be really, really good next year. That's what the category means, NT Weed, which obviously for the Bengals, it's been Burrow gets healthy. For Pittsburgh, it's a very high floor, but not a high ceiling, and they can't get it done in the playoffs. 0-6 in the last 6 playoff games. And the Cowboys, they are good. They fielded very good teams, but have not been able to get it done in the playoffs. My man, NT Weed, make sure that you're following. Thank you for the follow. Stay sober, prods. Thank you for the follow, Khaled. Excited to see more out of Burden and Odunze from Jimmy on James 1. I am ecstatic about what the Chicago Bears will be next season with Burden and Odunze, Loveland, each of those guys getting the production, the numbers from DJ. 100 targets last year at 95. That's going to be distributed amongst those guys now, and we get to see the young guys take that next step. So we're fired up about that. My man, Jimmy on James 1, make sure that you're following. John Cuomo, the Jets aren't in the worst tier. I used to pay for times like this, John. One more bad season, John. Only one more season where they go 4-13, get Moore or Manning or Sellers or Mayava or Hoover or Mensa, whoever that quarterback is, John. Then you take the quarterback, you utilize the other 2 first-round picks, you take a Cam Coleman, you bring in Leonard Moore, and it's off to the races, John. That's all it takes, John Cuomo. Make sure you're following. We're fired up about the Jets. If they actually suck this year and they don't have to leverage their future all the 3 first-round picks to pick a guy they could have taken if they were just bad. All 3 of them gonna have 1,000 plus. I might be a little biased. I think only 2 of them do. We might have the amount. Thank you, Sertan Glazer, for the updates. Just maybe every 5 minutes of game time, just give me an update on the score. And honestly, just give me a take if you think that I should actually watch it. Where are the Pats? They are in the playoff locks category. Khaled, I think they could be a 7-10 team. The Pats are in playoff locks. They just added AJ Brown to a team that was in the Super Bowl. They added Caleb Lomu to make their offensive line have depth. And then Gabe Akis on defense. A lot of people that are Bears fans know about Akis from the University of Illinois. They wanted Akis, and the Patriots traded up to get him right in front of Chicago. Well, Edward Flores Mar, make sure that you are following. I say the Rams make it to the divisional round, but lose to the Lions. So Bears fan, 6934. I've talked about it. I've got the Rams beating the Lions in the NFC title game next year. I'm actually pretty high on them. Hockey is the best sport to watch live, in my opinion. I liked that take until I don't know. It was a while back though, where I just became such a much bigger football fan than hockey. Where I would I would much rather go to South Carolina versus Mississippi State than than basically legitimately a Stanley Cup final game. I'd rather go to the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss versus Mississippi State than the hockey. I'm just that much bigger of a football fan. But I was die hard. I was right there with the Blackhawks for a long time, but my love and passion for football just continued to grow as I got closer to the sport. Went to college and spent time hands on, with the football team, doing interviews, sitting in their meetings, being on the practice field with them every single day. So it changed the passion. Ben follows God. Make sure that you're following. You can have your doubts. I can respect it. Rams over Lions in the NFC title game from Michael Jordan. Needs poo. Make sure you're following Michael Jordan. That name is hilarious. Blake Bearlair, make sure you're following. Lock them Jags in and take the Texans out. CJ Stroud ain't it. To your point, he hasn't been it. And they made some additions to the offense. They brought in Rutledge, the offensive lineman, and the Jaguars. They were the best run defense in football last year, Blake. And you've got the same name as your former quarterback that took him to the AFC title game, and we're up 7 points on New England in that game. Blake Bearlair, great to have you here. Make sure you're following. I joined 30 minutes ago, Bears fan. There you go. 30 minutes flies by. I've been here for 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we've got 2 more hours to go. So time flies on Blitz with Blender, guys. It does. For me, it might be a little bit tougher now that I've got this Cutler jersey that's hotter on, but I'm not going to complain. I haven't put this puppy on in years. I legitimately have not put this jersey on in years. So it's fun to be back. I would say UFC. Okay, that's a good take, Khaled. I like that one. What's up, Toot Arrington? How you doing? Ben, thank you for the follow, Ben. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Michael Jordan is the GOAT for basketball. Damn. Michael Jordan he without a doubt, is the GOAT, especially in my opinion. Anyone know where I can find a sundial? I don't, Henry Jones Jr., but I'm sure someone in the chat eventually could. You're in the right place, Henry Jones Jr. We've got a lot of bright, young, and old minds alike in this chat. Some people are 8 years old. Some people are 98. There you go. Do a live where you wear all your Bears stuff. So I basically just keep rotating all my different Bears attire. We can make it happen. We could do a live without a doubt. That's just Bears base where we just keep circling through and talk about the Bears memorabilia and merch that we got. We got a lot over the years. My uncle, I could legitimately show you hundreds of tickets that my uncle has sent me over the years, as well as the Cubs, the Blackhawks. He's a diehard Chicago fan, and I grew up in Los Angeles, so I wasn't as hands-on, but I have from afar been able to get out there a couple times every year and support our guys. MJ before the best. Okay, Kobe number 2. And to your point, Southside, you were able to watch it, and see that opinion. I never saw Michael play, so I can't give my full take, and I can't tell you why Michael's not better than LeBron being 6-0. It's our year. I I know why. Pal, Vikes top 5 defense last year retained Flores, Kyler Murray, and we're going to take off next year. It's our year. Joey Schwartz, I'm right there with you. I just have the question mark about Kyler. Make sure you're following Joey Schwartz. I don't think I've seen you in here before, Joey. This might be a weird thing to say, but I am a member of the tribe. If you know what I'm saying, I'm a member of the tribe. It sounds like with that last name you are as well, Joey. Make sure that you're following Joey. Great to have you in here. You would take Will Anderson Jr. over Aiden Hutchinson. I would do it in a heartbeat, Chris, without hesitation, zero doubt. I would take Will Anderson Jr. over any defensive player in the National Football League right now. I'd take him over Garrett because he's 6 years younger. You've got him to be able, he's going to keep getting better until he's, 27, 28, plateau for a couple of seasons. So next year, I'd rather have Garrett. For the next decade, I'd rather have Will Anderson. Ha ha ha! Everybody is an armchair quarterback. I might be one too. I'll probably be even better. Edward, that is the best comment I have seen. Edward Gordon, make sure you're following. That was hilarious. I might even be a better armchair quarterback than you. Anything you can do, I could do better. I can do anything better than you. 63-50. Okay, 7.5. Doesn't sound like a great game, Sir Tanglazer. Doesn't sound like a game that would be better to be watching than to be going live talking football. I think this is better right now than whatever's going on in that game. Guys, on YouTube right now, if you have not subscribed, stop what you're doing and go hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you are subscribed. This is Blitz with Blender. My name is Josh Blender. We go live every single day talking about college football in the NFL. It's been a lot more NFL lately because, frankly, there's been a lot more happening than college. The NFL has OTAs. They just had major news. Myles Garrett traded to the Rams. The best player in the NFL has been traded. He's off of a perennial dumpster team and on arguably the best team in NFL history. How many days until football season? I think it's like 92, something like that. Bears playoff lock from Big TPHD. That's a Jay Cutler jersey, Big. You know what that is? That's a Jay Cutler jersey right there, Big. Make sure that you're following Big TPHD. I just don't have him there right now. Some people say it might be a little bit of bias if I had him in that category, and that's honestly why I've been a little bit iffy on putting them there. I just don't want to lose a little bit of credibility if I have them a little bit too high right now. But I like what you're saying. Certified bag chaser, Seahawks too high after what they lost. I know what you mean, certified. They lost Reek Woolen. They lost Boye Mafe. They lost Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP. I get what you're saying, my man. Certified bag chaser. Make sure you're following. C. The Lions were last in the division. C. It's just that schedule looks absolutely like a cupcake dosed in butter. Like there's a lot of butter in a cupcake, and then you add another stick of butter on top of it. That's what the schedule looks like. Very easy to get down. C, only C's guy. Make sure you're following. Split C. Steelers not in contenders because right now what the division looks like. I know Jeremy Bernard, Pittman, and DK Metcalf in the running back room looks really good. Thank you for the follow, certified bag chaser. But with Pittsburgh, yeah, thank you. Clutch live while at work. You got it. That's what we try and provide a little bit of entertainment, maybe get people up to speed on football, entertainment, education, one of the two E's. But mainly we're trying to bring the community together. I don't have Pittsburgh as a contender because are we expecting Lamar Jackson and Burrow to be both unhealthy, to have injuries once again next year? Remember how the Bengals season was essentially over by the end of October. Remember that the Ravens started last year 1-5. So the Browns got better without Myles Garrett. Not yet, see. They will be better. I was advocating and saying, I'm like jumping up and down right now because people that haven't watched my show, I'm like, guys, I was saying for them to trade Myles for years because you haven't won with him. Let's get rid of the money in the future and bring in fresh young talent. Build around a young franchise quarterback, which looks like they'll do in 2027. My man C, make sure you're following. What do we got here? Certified bag chaser. My Commanders need to sign Debo or Diggs already. Go make it happen. But Splitsy, look, I just see that division being tougher now. Dexter Lawrence is now on Cincinnati. You have Trey Hendrickson going to the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be much tougher sliding or sledding. It's been a while. We got to drink some more water. But Split C, make sure that you're following my man. I do think Pittsburgh has a higher floor than anybody in that division. It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, guys, and I would say the energy is still decently high. Would we agree? Is the energy high enough right now? This bottle of water is going to keep us rolling. What do we got? Commanders, Ravens, playoff. I don't care. Okay. Playoff lock. We could see it from Baltimore next year. I'm interested to see how much better the Vikings get with Kyler, and that's why I'm in that category there, right there, because I don't know. Like you're saying, I'm interested. We could think they're going to be a lot better with Kyler, that he's more mobile. He's got a bigger arm than JJ. He's a better athlete, but we just don't know until we see it on the field. And they play the Chicago Bears week 2. We see that kind of a matchup. C, make sure that you're following at not him X. Make sure you're following. Why are the Chargers so high? To answer your question, look, they have 2 of the best 5 tackles in the NFL in Alton Slater. They get those guys healthy. It's going to be easier to run the football. They're going to have time of possession. They're going to look a lot like the 2023 Michigan Wolverines national title team, where there's a load off of their starting quarterback. The defense is going to be the same level they were a year ago, so we're really excited about that. They brought Akeem Mesidor in. I truthfully think that's an upgrade over Odafe Oweh. So I have the Chargers being very high next year. I think Justin Herbert, he's my pick to win MVP next year. I'm not excited about Mike McDaniel. Not him X. Make sure you're following. AJ11. Make sure that you're following. Awesome to have you in here. Bengals need to rebuild. It does not look like they are making a rebuild happen when you trade your 10th overall pick. When you trade your 10th overall pick, that's the opposite of a rebuild. That is a going all in for it kind of decision. Caden Harrington, Saints are going to be so good. I agree with you, Caden Harrington. I really think that they will be really good next year. And Caden Harrington, make sure you're following. Great to have you in here, showing your passion for the Saints. What's the biggest question mark with the Raiders, especially? No, it's outside weapon. It's wide receiver. They got the best tight end in football, but they don't have a premier weapon on the perimeter, GL19. Right, that's the big question mark with the Raiders right now. Obviously, with Cleveland, it's their quarterback. With the Jets, it's their secondary defensive line right now, as well as obviously Geno Smith. They've got the weapons in offensive line, but the Jets need a star corner. They need another, I think, premier wide receiver, a Cam Coleman to insert them, which they could get. They have their way. They get aggressive. There's a possibility that the Jets could add Cam Coleman, Leonard Moore, and Dante Moore in next year's draft if they play their potential cards right. GL19, make sure that you're following. Thank you for the question. DL2613, as an Eagles fan, as long as Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata stay healthy, the Rams don't scare me. I absolutely agree with you because those guys are studs when they're on the field. When they're not healthy, that's when you see a team like the Chicago Bears beat the Eagles on that Black Friday game. Lane Johnson wasn't healthy, didn't play, and the Chicago Bears defense looks like a juggernaut. DL2613, make sure you're following. I couldn't agree with you more. Caden Harrington, make sure you're following. Dallas isn't a contender, not quite yet, Peter. It still is their year, though, right? We're still believing that this can be Dallas's year. On paper, they have a ceiling that looks like it's untapped. You have the best 2 wide receivers as a duo in football potentially. I'm not a Bulls fan, Jacob. I really don't watch any basketball unless it's March Madness. Like, I think this gives you an example. I'm on a live talking about football on June 3rd right now instead of watching game 1 of the NBA Finals. That's been highly anticipated. I think that tells you how much of a football fan that I am. But look, I have questions about Dallas as well as you do, Peter. Peter, I've seen, do you have a cousin or know someone named Timmy Hanna? There was a football player that went to Chapman University. That's name was Timmy Hanna. He was a starting cornerback back in 2021. Any relation there, Peter? Because he's from Texas, I think, and you're a Cowboys fan, so I wonder if you're related. No, nothing, bro. Okay, I got you, Peter. Just wondering because it's a Hannah from Texas, so I was wondering, but I'm sure there could be a lot. Texas, as we know, Everything's bigger in Texas, as are the families. So, Peter Hanna, though, great to have you here. Make sure you're following. This dude eats cans. I don't know what that means, but not your good. No, no. Yeah, I was wondering. Who knows? Maybe we know the same people, or it's a smaller world than we think it is. JC82 49ers should be one level up. That defense. JC82. I fully agree with you. And look, people are like, San Francisco, if I'm a Niner fan, I would not be okay with the season where we went to the Super Bowl and lost. We've lost the last 3 Super Bowls we've been in. I'm tired of losing. So JC82, look, still hesitant because of the division that they're in, right? JC82, I don't know if you know the statistics, Jai Roshavaria 42, but if you're a wild card, your chances of winning the Super Bowl are only 5%. There's been 2 teams in the last 20 years. It was the Green Bay Packers in 2010 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2020 that won the Super Bowl as a wild card. So you think about that statistic in the division that they are in, it pretty much means that you need to win the division if you're the 49ers. And with the Rams in Seattle, it just looks like it's a very tough hill to climb. They can do it. They, for heaven's sake, beat the Seahawks on the road last year, week 1. They beat the Rams with Mac Jones. They could, JC, but for right now, I don't have them quite in that high category. But JC82, make sure you're following. H-Town over Pats. Okay, we could see it. Eddie Spaghetti, thank you so much for the love. Landon Motion. Chargers are the worst team in the division. Worse than the Raiders from Landon got Motion. Okay. Not very high on Justin Herbert, it appears. And I guess you don't have much respect either for Akeem Mesidor or Mike McDaniel coming there. 2 guys from the state of Miami this past year that were in Miami. Obviously, McDaniel with the Dolphins and Mesidor with the Canes. But what's the name? What's it? Landon got Motion. Make sure you're following. Holden, how are the Rams over the Dolphins? I just think it could change, Holden. If the Dolphins get Jeremiah Smith, they could be over the Rams. I mean, they get the best player in college football in the last generation, without a doubt. They could be over him. Holden, make sure that you're following. Landon got Motion. Make sure you're following, guys. H-Town over Pats from ITEY. Good to see you here. My hopes up. I can't give up. Go Niners. Absolutely, without a doubt, JC. You have to. As a Niners fan, you've got one of the best teams for a long time that we've been fired up about for San Francisco. They've had a ton of success, and there's a lot more coming. Thank you so much for the follow, JC82. Bears disrespect, Chuck. Do you see what I'm wearing, Chuck? This is a Jay Cutler jersey. Bears disrespect, Chuck. Bears disrespect. There's no Bears disrespect. I'm a diehard Chicago Bears fan, Chuck. Chuck, make sure that you're following, my man. I fully agree with you. This team has all of it ahead of them. I just have Detroit above Chicago 1 spot because of what they have with their schedule next year, Chuck. I was at that Bears-Rams game. Caleb Williams dials it all the way back, makes this absurd throw play to Cole. It was incredible. How much to put the Cardinals in the top tier? That would be 20. Yeah, that would be 20. I said Bucks. Oh, Bucks disrespect, but you do F with the Bears. Tyron, that would be 20, 25 to make that happen. Just because every individual that comes on here that sees that would immediately probably scroll. No, it's all good, Tyron. We're just did I just invite somebody? The Chiefs are not contenders. Okay, I could see it. All good, Tyron. The reason I am wearing this Bears jersey is because we got a donation to do it. Did you get traded in the Beach League, or why are you on a new team? The other team ended, Sertan Glazer. So we have a new season that's starting up this week. Sertan Glazer. Yeah. Chiefs are not contenders, Sams. I have heard this sentiment quite a lot this offseason. I just got to give him the benefit of the doubt for now. You can understand that. Patty Mahomes and what they've been. I got to continue to give them respect, at least until we see it not go their way this season. LFD Dan's OZ Rams first round exit. Maybe they host the Chicago Bears and they play LFD Dan's and they get beat. LFD Dan's. Make sure you're following Chuck. Make sure you're following. Great to have you guys in here. I only said it twice, 5 minutes apart. Oh, I got you. No, he didn't spam Lachlan. There's zero spam there. Lachlan's all over it. No, he said it like what, 10 minutes apart. All good there. No, I got you, Sir Tanglazer. Zero worries. And I think Lachlan was just screwing with you anyway. The biggest bust or the biggest Super Bowl or bust is the Rams. They without a doubt are. This is without zero hesitation the biggest situation for a team in recent memory that has it all riding. They need to win a Super Bowl this year or next. Otherwise, it's one of the biggest busts in history because they just leverage their future, Chili Cheeks. And Chili Cheeks, make sure you're following. We're HDIS, OYDYDUS. I don't think the Patriots are playoff locks. Look, I just simply have them in that category because of their schedule and what they play. Like playing the Jets and the Dolphins, probably going 3-1 at the worst. That means you just got to go about 500 in your other 13 games. So that's why I've got them there. But I hear what you're saying. We're HDIS. Make sure you're following Chili Cheeks. Make sure you're following Bears fan. Going to Bears versus Panthers and Bears versus Packers on Christmas Day. Are you kidding me? So week 1. And B-Dog edits got Cowboys down there. Not down there too much, but they're in a category that's respected still. Wow, so the Spurs, I guess they just caught up a little bit. Thank you, Sir Tanglazer. That Panthers game week 1, Bears fan, the 6-9-3-4. We are so excited about. It's an opportunity to make a statement. Carolina was in the playoffs last year. They won their division. Which team looks immediately on the higher trajectory this season? Who's better right off the bat? The Bears beat Carolina 2 years ago, and it was a slap in the face to Carolina that they took this quarterback, and Caleb Williams walked in there as a rookie and went and they blew out the Panthers. Carolina is tough. I agree with you. He will be out for the first Bears-Packers game. There is that update. What's up, Kyle McVeigh? Good to see you. And Kyle McVeigh, make sure that you are subscribed. B-Dog Edits, if you have not, I don't know, if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you do so. What do we got here? Toddless, I am scared for Bears Packers. Don't want my Christmas to be spoiled. I know what you mean. It always kind of hinges your happiness a lot of the year on that rivalry. So that means there's been a lot of very unhappy, depressed Bears fans for a while, like myself. As you see, I spent $150 on this Jay Cutler jersey back when he got the extension in 2013. Hawks Super Bowl or bust, buddy. They just won the Super Bowl, but Superman, remember here, they're paying Witherspoon, they're paying Jackson Smith and Jigba. If there's a new contract for Donald, they're going to have to pay him a ton of money. How are they going to retain all of that talent, Superman? So it really is this window, the next 2 years, where it's open for them. Like, they're not going to be able to retain all of that talent, Superman. So that's why we have them there. My guy, Superman, make sure that you are following Papa Squat. Houston is Super Bowl or bust with that defense. As a Bears fan, I fully agree with what you're saying there, Papa Squat. Make sure you're following Chili Cheeks. Hit that follow button. What else do we got down here, guys? Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder. Why is Jeremiah there from Football God? He is there because he could be the first player taken in the 2027 NFL draft going to the Miami Dolphins. That is exactly right, Football God. You are a ball knower, fully with it, Football God. Make sure you're following my man. He could be coming back to the 305. Jonas with Bengals dead. Look, it's their year. We feel like they have a team that's talented enough. Thank you for the follow, Football God. Anthony, why Bengals so low? The defense improved and we stay healthy. We good. I agree with you. If they stay healthy, you guarantee me a healthy Burrow. I wouldn't be shocked if they're in the Super Bowl competing with anyone. Thank you for the follow, Superman. Appreciate the love of the live. Anthony, I agree with you. We're walking to the dance together in this way. We're walking to the game at the tailgate. We're eating sausage everywhere. We're fired up about it, Anthony. So the Bengals could absolutely make it happen if Burrow's healthy. They tied it up, Sertan Glazer, 71-71, huh? So this game actually might be a fun one for people to watch, it sounds like. Anthony, make sure that you are following. I fully agree with your take. Jonas, for real, need to be Super Bowl contenders. I'm with you. It's just a matter of health there. I got to make sure what they look like early in the season, and then if we do see it, we'll have them moving up very quickly with what the ranking is right now. There's zero hesitation that they'll move up very fast to start next year. Carson, thank you for the follow. The Steelers are better than every team in the North. Carson, without a doubt, their floor is higher. And with the additions like Jeremy Bernard, I think that he could lead the team in receiving yards next year. That's how high I am on him. He led Bama in receiving yards a year ago. Already one of the smartest players in the entire division. He could have been a starter at defensive back if he wanted to be. The Bengals roster is great, but we will fall apart the first 5 weeks. Finish 9-8. Superman. It's the realistic take, and it's why I currently have them in its our your category. Where if it goes the right way, you could see them doing anything to make it happen. But also, you've seen the last 3 seasons Burrow get hurt, and even with a Burrow very healthy season, they had the worst defense in the league. They missed the playoffs last year. Once again, another Burrow injury. Whisper Eagles over the Cowboys. I still have them there. Given the Eagles, even without A.J. Brown, a little bit of leeway because of what they've been. But Dallas is scratching at their heels right now with the additions to the defense. They ran the football down people's throats last year. It wasn't just Pickens and Lamb. Remember, CD had that injury earlier on in the season. But Whisper, I just got to give credit to Philly's defensive front. Davis and Carter start everything up there, and then everything from Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, DeJean. They're still very talented throughout that entire defense. I got to give them there because we've seen it from them. Yes, they lost Dean. Yes, they lost Phillips. Yes, they lost Blankenship. But we've seen them have success. Whisper, great to have you here. Make sure that you are following. Cody021. Can I ask how the Patriots are playoff locks with their schedule? I think they will make it, but still, Cody, it's because of exactly to your point, their schedule. In that division, they're going to play the Dolphins and the Jets twice. So they probably go 3-1 in those 4 games conservatively. They could easily win all 4, and if they do that, that means they just got to go about 500 in their other 13 games to make the postseason. 10-7, very likely gets you in. Jack Ella Langley's version. Niners offense will be scary. I feel like just not the same for defense. Yeah, I'm with you. The defense was last. They couldn't get pressure on the quarterback, couldn't get quarterbacks on the ground with sacks last year, Jack. I'm right there with you. They got to get Mike Kell healthy, got to get Fred Warner healthy. John Connor Glazer, someone verified. John Connor Glazer just said Aaron Donald said he unretired. I don't believe you. I feel like that a lot of people put stuff in the chat. But it's funny because someone did say Myles Garrett just got traded to the Rams, and I didn't believe it. And then he convinced me to go check. I did, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's real. People keep disrespecting the Bears. You'll see again. Ballers Av, are you still in here? Ballers Av, do you see that I'm wearing a Jay Cutler jersey right now? Got the donation cap. Ballers Av, make sure that you're following, my man. Great to see a fellow Bears fan in here. Archmeister Westeros. So we got Archmeister Lewin. His name was Maester Lewin. We had the Maester of the Citadel. We had Samuel Tarley coming on in, taking that claim to lead everybody. We had Maester. Gosh, what was the old guy's name? I watched all of God. This is why you're in. It's our year tier. Caleb for the Madden cover from David goes crazy. It absolutely does. We're fired up about it. David, are you a Bears fan, David, or just giving Caleb some love? Do I think the Madden curse will affect Caleb's year? No, I don't. I just hope it doesn't get into it doesn't get into his head. David, make sure that you're following Archmaester Westeros. Make sure you're following. I do. Are you kidding me, my man? Brienne of Tarth, absolute one of the GOAT characters. Sandor, Gregor Clegane, that battle to the death at the end of everything. Bears fan, finally something to smile about in Chicago. It's true. Do you think Caleb should have been on the cover? Who would have been a better player to put on the cover is my thing, Ricky. Sam Darnold. It's not as marketable to put Sam Darnold on the cover. Remember, they're trying to sell this game to 12-year-olds. Guys, people like me, 25, I'm not the market type for people wanting to buy this game. It's Caleb Williams, flashy, viral plays, excitement, the Heisman Trophy winner. You have the Los Angeles market, you have the Chicago market. There's arguably not really been a player in NFL history that's been this hyped if you take into account where he played at in college football, the era he played in already making money, going to this kind of a market. He's been put in as the savior, so to say. My guy Ricky, make sure that you're following. What do we got? Archmaester Westeros. Good to see ya. Obviously, with that was funny. He knows about got ball, but not about football. Aaron Donald is back. Wait, confirmed. I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibilities. Wait, Jacob, search it up. Aaron Donald is back. Lachlan, is it real? Guys, I'm seeing in the chat. And Steven Hanselman, bruh, how do you have the Packers as contenders? Terrible take. Steven, do you think they should be lower? Wait, Schultz said it. Wait, Schultz. Oh, wait, hold up. Jacob, wait, what's his name? Schultz, the son of the Starbucks? Guys, we're hearing a potential report that Aaron Donald is confirmed